A Tiger of their own tonight versus Texas Southern. This is going to be an interesting matchup because UCF received good news early in the week. They found that they came in to the final week of the season at 18 in the country, and we'll take a look at the rankings and the situation a little bit later on. As you can see it right now, Eastern Kentucky 10-0, perfect record. They lost today, however, so they have their first blemish. And take special note that 4 teams have identical records to UCF at 7-3. And tonight, UCF taking on Texas Southern, a team that won their first 4 games and then has fallen into a 6-game skid. And they would certainly like to finish their season on a positive note with a win. And with me to talk about this matchup as well as the playoff, former NFL tight end and CV color commentator Gary Parrish.
John, in the beginning of the season, every coach sets two goals. 1, to have a winning season, and 2, to get into the playoffs. UCF has assured itself of a winning season. Tonight they have an opportunity to get into the playoff with a victory over Texas Southern. This is going to be a very tough, competitive game. This team has all of a sudden gotten healthy, and it makes the coaches a little weary about playing them tonight. Now, there's a couple other key factors in the season tonight. There's key games. Boise State playing Idaho, the Citadel playing Furman, and Northeast Louisiana at North Texas. These teams, 3 of these teams will take a defeat and could move UCF up the ladder some. Also, there's some other factors that will help give UCF, they should win tonight, a chance of playing here in Orlando, and that would be the size of the stadium, the number of students, and some other involvement of that to make this a key game for us tonight.
As you can see, Ron Johnson here be the starting pitcher tonight for UCF. He's warming up the cannon, and we're about ready to get this thing started. Tonight we'll be kicking off to Texas Southern. And now that nice defense will come out to try to shut down this potent offense of Texas Southern. They've got some athletes and some awful big linemen on the Texas Southern side of the line of scrimmage. You look at them, Walker, Allen, Bird, Sparks, and Evans. Big offensive line, a couple of 300-pounders on there. The quarterback is Stacy Moore from down in Miami. Jackson, Frady, Wiggins, Moore, and Neal. Will Moore is the wide receiver that has been on the receiving end of some 8 touchdowns coming into tonight's action, so he is a favorite target of Stacy Moore. Taking a look at the UCF nightmare, Lindsey, the nose tackle, Knott and Cole. A quartet, and when they're healthy, they create a lot of problems for their opponents as they won their first 4 games. So he's very worried about that. As you see Moore, the quarterback tonight, 881 yards. But the key thing is 11 interceptions along with 11 TDs. Moore's going to throw it on first down, and that ball's picked off. At the 40, looks like Steve Wright down to the 33. Number 38, Steve Wright will start things off right for UCF. That is his first interception on the season. A great story, a walkout from Winter Park. What a pleasant surprise he has done, and he's got himself an INT. So one of the problems when we saw that graph on Stacy Moore was that Moore had thrown 11 interceptions. Now make it 12. Marsden is the center. Bishop and Lightly the guard. 2 big tackles in the form of Alex Goforth and Derek Tanner. Ron Johnson getting his start tonight. Belasis and Giacone, double trouble in the backfield. 2 speedy wide receivers, Buxton and Cooper, and a steady tight end from Milledgeville, Georgia, named John Osborne. Just underway, 1st and 10. Play fake, reverse to Buxton. He can throw it. He's going to throw. He's got a man wide open. Jefferson, touchdown, UCF. 2 plays and points for the night, and you can't do much better than that, especially when you kick off to start it off. Well, we opened the game with a reverse, as you know, last week. And one of the things that Coach McDowell knows that this Walter Highsmith will do is review the film, knowing that UCF likes to run the reverse. Instead of what does he do? He comes out with the reverse right away. Everybody bites. Wide open is John Jefferson. Nice pass there by Buxton, though. So Driller comes on out of the hole of Ron Johnson. Brian Sargent is the long snapper for the extra point. Dusty night the Pacific Bowl cool conditions. He's perfect, and with 14:44 left in the first quarter, with 16 seconds into the game, the Knights have an early 7-0 lead. You're watching CZ's Community Cable Channel.
Off to Sean Beckton. Sean Beckton now looking downfield, and you're going to see a wide open Sean Jefferson. All he has to do is just bring it on in, look it into his hands. Touchdown, UCF.
Well, Jefferson was on the receiving end of a 76-yard TD that Beckton threw versus Southern Illinois. That is Beckton's fourth career touchdown pass. He is already the most prolific wide receiver in the history of the program. Not a bad QB. He played QB in high school. Gorilla tees it up. End over end. We've been down this road before tonight, and they'll down it once again. First time he booted it out of the end zone. This time it is just down. 1st and 10 from the 20 again. Caught that ball like a center fielder. Very assistant head coach crossing out from the rest. Well, one thing that's so fun to do is keep his team in the game all the way through the game. Even though we scored right away, is that he's telling them, stay in the ball
Game. Hey, this is going to be a dogfight all the way through.
We can't afford to let up. Will Moore is wide left, and Wiggins is at the top of your screen. Backstrom and I. Second back through is going to be Henderson, and he's got a lot of room. Knocked down at about the 48-yard line. He was knocked down by Patulski, 56, who was pursuing, but Terry Henderson came in with 85 carries. He averages 4.2. His long up to this point was just 32 yards, and he bounced it out almost 30 on that play right there. So he picks up a gain of 28, 1st and 10. Gary, you remember last week it was 2 plays, and UCF had a 7-0 lead. And you talk about dogfights. It came down to the last play of the game with no time on the clock to secure that win. 1st and 10. Stacey Moore. Hands off to Timmy Jackson. Short game just inside UCF territory to pick up about 4. Call it 2nd and 6.
This is a big offensive line. They're healthy. And the thing that they do best, and they line up in that I formation, is they got 2 running backs. As you see right here, we'll see Jackson gets the ball. Jackson's the leading rusher for this team with 400 and some 50, 60 yards and about 4 touchdowns, 459 yards, 4 TDs. They like to run the ball of the I formation. Now that they're healthy, they will do more of it.
2nd and 6. That's Henderson bowling his way to about the UCF 45, and he is gang tackled down there by Stewart and company. We're going down to Tom McCulley.
Thank you very much, John. There's a lot of ingredients that go into making a successful team to allow them to go to the playoffs the first year they're eligible. One of those key ingredients is leadership. The leadership they find in the 17 seniors that are playing on this team today. We're going to have the opportunity to try to talk to each and every one of them. I think they're going to have a lot of insights for us, a lot of reminiscence. I'm looking forward to it. John, we'll take it back upstairs to you.
3rd down and 3, big play. Moore has 2 wide receivers at the bottom of your screen. And he wants to take it himself on a naked bootleg. He doesn't have the 1st down thanks to number 11. Buckley came up, met him head on, and come up with a very big defensive play right there.
Well, that was a great open field tackle by Eric Buckley that time. As we're going to see here, it's a fake the dive. Now it's a bootleg. He's got a choice of the options. He's going to keep the ball, but it's a bootleg by himself. Now watch the tackle here by Eric Buckley. You go one-on-one, that's a great job. Now, I'll tell you somebody else who's got a rough night ahead of him. It's Tom McCullum. He's going to interview 17 seniors.
He can handle it. Curtis Neal on his 42 is playing the football. And it's Sean Beckton, who's back at his 10. Receiving the kick. There's the numbers on Neal, averaging 34.2 kick. He's got a dangerous man awaiting this one, though. Beckton signals for a fair catch at the 10, and that's where the Knights will set up shop. 1st and 10. They had it on one previous possession after an interception by Wright. It took just 1 play, an option from that man to the other Sean Jefferson, to produce a touchdown for UCF. They lead at 7-0 with 12:05 left.
We saw Sean Beckton there returning the punts. Mike Dickinson, who's been doing a fantastic job all year, is out. Last game, Mike had got knocked out on returning a punt, and he has to set out a game, and he's okay. I talked to him, and he's doing fine. Can't wait to get in the playoffs.
Here's a look at that starting defense of the Tigers. 1st and 10. Giacone, right side, who is lassoed down there, and lassoed in a big way by Maurice Jackson. And a big story in Giacone, they're calling it the Giacone watch tonight. He needs 120 yards to become the most prolific runner in the history of the program, coming in with 801 yards.
Well, you're going to see that's one of their favorite places to toss. You see the tight end Osborne Belaces out there blocking for them, and they do a good job. He picks up about 4 or 5 yards on that, and his goal, he told me before the game, was to get 200 yards tonight.
Giacone again, going left this time. A whole lot of success down there. He was wrapped up by that Tiger defense. Again, number 99, Jackson, was over to help out. Third down and 5. Excuse me. The thing
Talking to Mark, and you love listening to the guy talk, is that first of all, he wants to win this ball game. He's a team player. Now, if he gets 200 yards, that's fine. But the most important thing, he'd rather take 50 yards and take a victory.
Let's check that. It's third down and 2 now for Ron Johnson from the 18-yard line. Play fake. Wants to throw. He's got a man open. Perry Belaces at the 25 has a first down to the 26. Making the stop was number 93 coming over to put Belaces down for this Tiger team. That would be Rodney Green, a linebacker.
Ron Johnson has thrown the ball, as you see, for 632 yards coming in the game. That was an excellent selection that time. First of all, what he did, he looked downfield to try to find his receivers downfield. Then he came back to Perry Belaces, who's a good receiver out of the backfield.
Beckton and Cooper are the wide receivers, and first and 10 from the 26. Giacone gets to about the 30, picks up 4 on the play before he's knocked down by Rodney Green again, number 93.
Well, Perry Belaces that time threw an excellent block for Mark Giacone and does a good job of being the workhorse. To make a good, successful backfield work, you're going to see right here Perry blocking right there in front. There's a good block by Perry for Mark Giacone. You've got to have a back that's willing to sacrifice, and Perry's willing to do that for Mark Giacone.
So this is Giacone. First down and more outside the 40 to the 45. Picked up number 24, Chris Daggs, 5'10", 185-pound sophomore. And there's the Giacone watch for you in detail. He's a workhorse.
He loves. Now you're going to see
right here. Starts off with Derek Connor, does a good job. Now watch Perry Belaces, Alex Goforth. There's Perry Belaces right there. They got Sean Beckton downfield blocking. Everybody working hard. They're taking this game real serious, as you can see already. First and 10 from the 45. Giacone left. Mark Giacone show. 45 down to about the 41, depending on where they spot the football. But Mark Giacone has been a big factor. He was knocked down by Curtis Neal, and you look at Mark Giacone's fiancée as he proposed to her prior to homecoming last week right here at the stadium.
You see Mark coming off the field now, and you see his throughout the years with UCF, he's been a consistent runner, and this year he's capping it off with a fantastic senior year, going into this game at 801 yards on 146 carries, and he's got a ton of touchdowns out there too. Just a great guy too. He's a citizen type, good character type person too.
Tied for the lead in touchdowns in 1990 with 8 TDs. He has had 5 games in excess of 100 yards so far in 1990. Looking to break all the records on the ground is Mark Giacone. And 2 years back, he had a serious knee injury, and he's not only come back from that knee injury, but he has picked up some steps. He's quite a ball player.
I was here that game. GT, my son was recruited at that time out of Vero Beach High School, and we were at that game when Mark got hurt. And it's just great to see him back and see him playing so well. And he's just, like I say, just a super guy. And the teammates love him. They know they don't mind blocking for a guy like that. As you see Coach Shackelford talking to the defense like Lounsford was before, he's telling them we have to stay in it.
You look at the top rushers for both clubs, it's Jackson and Henderson. No surprise there for Texas Southern. And Giacone and English, both with 8 TDs. And Willie English a load in his own right as well. Belaces and Willie are in there now, and there you see Willie work. Pounding his way, he doesn't want to go down, and it takes a big effort from the guys dressed in white to finally bring him down. He just refused to go down. He was finally knocked down by Rodney Green. Numbers on Willie.
We see right here, it's a toss. You just changed the numbers there from 41 to 34. and you're going to get a good job by both those runners, as English just fighting like you know what to get that extra couple yards.
Second down and 7. Willie picks up 3. Ball is on the 37-yard line of Texas Southern. The Knights have a 7-0 lead early. This is a play fake. Johnson underneath. Belasis out of the backfield down at about the 28-yard line. He was bounced out of bounds over there by Alan Anderson, and it's another nice game. Near the mark, they're going to have to give him the first down there. They're moving the chain.
Well, anytime the linebackers drop back in a zone coverage, and they're trying to take away Jefferson or Cooper or Beckton, somebody's got to be open. They tied into the running back, most likely is going to be open. And what's been good about this so far is that Ron Johnson has been able to find the open man, which has been Perry Belasis on this drive.
First and 10 from the 28. Montrell Green is checked in now. Giacone is the tailback. Montrell, the upback, he'll get the call on first down. Falls inside the 25 to about the 24. He was tripped up. He just fell forward by Maxwell, Cedric Maxwell.
John, UCF will use 2 sets of backs. You see Montel Green here just on the quick handoff, the quick dive up the middle. They like to run English and Montel Green together, and they like to run Perry Belasis and Mark Giacone together. 2 good sets of running backs.
Second down and 6 after the pickup of 4. Giacone weaving. First down and more to about the 11-yard line. He was chopped by Chris Daggs, and we're going downstairs where Tom McCullion is standing by.
Thank you very much, John. Down here with Mike Dickinson. And Mike, that was a wicked hit last week. How do you feel today?
Oh, I feel a lot better this week. Yeah, he caught me underneath the chin and knocked me out. He got a good shot on me. Went to the doctors yesterday and took some more x-rays of my head, and they're going to release me for next week. Hopefully everything goes well tonight. We'll be in the playoffs, and I'll be ready to go next week.
Your big thing is getting in there for the playoffs and contribute there.
Yeah, that's right. Everything should work out tonight. We sounds like it right now. We just scored another one, so hopefully everything's go well. I'll be back next week.
Thank you very much, Mike. John, we'll take it back upstairs to you.
Gary, that play looks pretty, but number 74, Derek Connor, had perhaps the prettiest block of 1990.
2 factors on that, John. We caught them in a blitz. This team likes the blitz. They send their inside linebackers who normally would scrape and help the outside. They blitzed up the middle. We picked them up, and Derek Connor did a great job of getting outside and taking out his man, and there's another touchdown for UCF. Beautiful reverse play on that one.
He looked like a mountain moving across the field that time, and Grilla is good on the extra point with 7:12 to go in the first quarter. UCF leads it 14-0.
The fans are enjoying this one. Now there's a penalty, and we'll find out what the official has to say.
Offside. Texas Southern. The point is good. It'll be administered on the kickoff.
Well, Grilla has not needed any extra yardage so far in his 2 previous kickoffs. Both have been into the end zone, and both have been downed at the point. Had some problems with slippery rock, but this time they continue to slug, and they've opened up a 14-0 lead early.
Ron Johnson probably has had one of his best drives he's had all season. Now, he had a good one last week against Slippery Rock when he came behind. As we see Deke Pollard there, the defensive coordinator, getting his troops rallied up for this next series out there. Now we're going to see the touchdown. There was a blitz right there. Now, look, there's no linebackers. Watch Robert Connor right there take out his man. Now, watch Sean Jefferson downfield blocking right there, and there goes Sean Beckton in. But what made the play was that both inside linebackers were blitzing.
That's the way they draw it up on the chalkboard. 14-0, 7:12 remaining. Grilla getting set to kick off once again. Jay Rogers, one of the speedy return men. He averages 18 yards on the return. Henderson is the other guy back there. Another long kickoff. There's no way he can take that thing out. He's got to down it again. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20.
Well, getting back to that last drive by Ron Johnson, the execution of that drive, they've been able to mix the run and the pass and hitting his backside of the backfield. It showed some poise on his part. His composure was excellent there, and he wasn't shaking or anything like that. And they were blitzing. They did everything at him. Threw everything at him. Did a good job. So that's what we need out of our quarterback right there, John.
Gene McDowell has been able to get it done here in Central Florida in his 6th year. He is 39-27. Was 9-4 back in 1987, not 9-3 when he took his team to the Division II playoffs. That wall was named number 3, Roberts, the cornerback. There's a look at that nice scoring drive, 11 plays, 89 yards, 4:53 off the clock. Capped on an 11-yard end around by the speedy wide receiver, Sean Beckton.
The key to that was 11 plays, almost 5 minutes. That's what a coach likes to see. That's the way you draw it up when you sit on the board and talk all week about a ball game.
Roberts sure came up on that play nice for run support from his cornerback position. Second down and 3. Play fake right up the middle, and nowhere to go once again. The Knights are not fooled. Henderson carried and just ran into the black shirts. We look at Walter Highsmith. He is in his second year as head coach of Texas Southern. Last year finished 3-7-1. This year 4-6. And the incredible thing is club started 4-0 and then has slipped 6 straight. He wants to win tonight. Southwestern Athletic Conference is the conference that this club participates in. That's a tough one. Teams like Grambling, Elkhorn State in there, so they keep pretty good company. Third down and about 5. They'll run for it again. Nowhere to go. Patulski came up number 56 and waited for help, but once again the UCF defense has made its presence known.
Well, Lindsey, Cole, and Knott, just the 3 of those men up front right there, are doing a good job of beating their man across the line of scrimmage, which means that everybody is stacked right there and allows those linebackers to come up and make some good tackles also.
There's the CV hats being distributed about. Everybody wants a CV hat here. Did you get one yet?
I didn't get one. I'm going to have to get on Mark Drury to find out how do I get a hat.
He's got a special one for you, I'm sure. Beckton comes up on the run, signals fair catch. Now he's got to get away from it, and the ball's down at about the 42-yard line of Texas Southern. So UCF has had this one go their way so far, leading at 14-0 and great field position to start their third drive. So far, every time they've touched it, they've scored.
Well, this is what the doctor described right here after a near upset victory over Slippery Rock last week. A team that everybody thought we were going to blow out, including me. I really thought we would blow them out, and they gave us a heck of a battle.
Senior Teddy Coltrane is checked in. He's at the top of your screen. Teddy coming back from an injury last week. Giacone scoots left. Another good gain. Got about 7 on the play. Was finally wrapped up by cornerback coming up, William Glenn, but Mark Giacone has been effective so far when he's had the football. As you look at Walter Highsmith in his second season here at Texas Southern.
He's got a pretty good son for a football player, too, a running back named Alonzo Highsmith, who many of y'all have heard out there playing in the pro ranks right now.
Played with Houston for a while. I guess he's now with Dallas. Well, when he was with Houston, did they have some running backs? Highsmith, Pinkett, Rozier, Giacone down to the 30. Got a first down. Mark Giacone moving the chains as number 93, linebacker Rodney Green hauled him down, but Giacone knows where the marker is, and he's moving the chains again for his troops.
You know, getting back to talking about blowouts and, you know, games of this nature like Slippery Rock, Coach McDowell was really happy he won that game. A win's a win, no matter how you win it, he said.
Well, Jefferson is checked in. That's to look at Mark Giacone. Beckton is a wide receiver that split left. Mark is running right at you. Good cut. Finally brought down at the 25. Giacone found the lane. Looked like he might have something big there before he was wrapped up.
Well, he's possessed tonight. He looks like he's on a mission tonight, and he's playing his heart out. I mean, he's coming off the sideline and everything, and he's running off, and this crowd gives him a big ovation. Now you see it here. It's a weak side toss away from the tight end, and he finds a good lane out there as Alex go forth. You see Sean Beckton working downfield for him.
Second down and 4. Palacios has the first down to the 19-yard line. He was rolled down there by, again, number 93, Rodney Green, who is really putting in a performance so far, and also number 94, Brian Brewer from Orlando Jones High School was in on that stop. Many players from Florida on this team.
Well, you see the handoff here to Palacios right up the middle. Now, I call that a keep them honest type play. When you throw as many tosses and pitches at them like we do, the quick handoff up the middle keeps the linebackers honest, and if they're not, you're going to pick up 4 or 5 yards or maybe even longer.
Montrell Green in, as is Willie English. Willie's got the ball scooting right. Hit hard at the 16. It looked like he might fall forward to inside the 15 before he ran into a pretty good lick there given by number 70, Melvin Evans. Evans, one of those guys that goes both ways.
All right, now here's the toss to the right side again. You see Montrell working out there. You see Robert Lee Connor working out there also. Now this is the basis of our offense. Toss right, toss left, then a quick handoff up the middle.
Melvin Evans is 6'4", 305 pounds, and he starts at offensive tackle as well for this Texas Southern team. Giacone, after a short rest, inside the 10, gallops inside the 4 to the 3. Mark Giacone ran into Michael Strahan, but not until he picked up a nice gain. 1st and goal, UCF. And if you're Walter Highsmith, your problem is you can't stop anything right now.
All right, now you may pick this up. You see Tom Leapy there? Tom picks up the blitzing linebacker that's laid on the ground right there that allows Mark Giacone to get outside. Tom Leapy does an excellent job of picking up the blitzing linebacker. If he doesn't pick him up, Mark is taken for a loss.
1st and goal, steamroller in, Belasis and Giacone. Double tights, unbalanced line. Here comes Giacone. Stopped at the 1, 2nd effort. I don't think he got in. He was lassoed over there by number 24, Chris Daggs, a strong safety, and just wouldn't let Mark in, but he got inside the 1, 2nd and goal.
When you get down to the goal line, I can remember Forrest Gregg telling us when he was coaching at Cleveland was that you just buckle your chin strap and it's just nothing but a 3-second fist fight down there. As you can see the play and the effort down there. You just got to get after it, and the guy that gets after it the most is going to usually win.
1:06 to go, 1st quarter. UCF leading at 14-0, looking to extend the lead. 20 Giacone had 8 TDs coming in, counted as 9 now. I think Mark might think that he has to break the record in the 1st quarter.
Well, we can tell by the crowd, we can tell by Mark Giacone who won the fist fight down there in the trenches. UCF offensive line is doing a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage, picking up their blitzes, and giving Giacone, Montel Green, and Willie English and Perry Belasis a hold.
Well, Giacone just might be in a groove tonight, Gary, by the looks of things. Out of the hold around Johnson, Grilla good on his 3rd consecutive PAT tonight, and UCF has a comfortable 21-0 lead in the 1st quarter. Is still underway. 57 seconds left. You're watching TV's Community Cable Channel, Channel 32. We'll be back with more UCF football right after this. Back at the Citrus Bowl, 57 seconds left, 1st quarter. UCF 21-0 over Texas Southern University. And right now, the Tiger hasn't even begun to growl here at the Citrus Bowl so far tonight. UCF in control. Joe Rogers and Terry Henderson are back deep. Long high, end over end. Rogers about 5 yards deep. He tries to run it out this time. Stutter step, a little bit of indiscretion, and he pays the price. It was hit hard by number 36, Brian Perman, or a cornerback, just popped him. When he started to think about it, he had to pay the price. May have been Holstaff. Sorry about that, 10. 10 came all the way from Anchorage, Alaska to make that tackle. I ought to give him credit for it.
Okay, we're going to get a chance to see this last touchdown coming up right here. As we had the steamroller in, there's Mark Giacone. You see the offensive linemen are downfield. They won the battle of the trenches. Getting back to Penn Holzapfel, though, he hit him so hard he knocked his mouthpiece completely out of his mouth. Good hit.
They open it up just a bit now. 3 wide receivers and a lone setback. Jackson is that running back. He gets the call, dives out to the 12. Number 42, Hamilton, trips him up. Timmy Jackson, 5'10", 225-pound senior. Big guy at 5'10".
Walter Highsmith now he knows he's in for a battle here. The main thing is try to keep his troops composure and try to keep them under control and do the things that you worked on all week. He's still got a chance to get in the game. If you see that last drive was 8 plays, 41 yards, 4 minutes and 6 seconds.
Some movement down there. Texas Southern, a fine program, has turned out many pros. Some of the more notable, Warren Wells. You remember him back with...
Texas Southern.
Back with the Raiders, Darryl LaMonica used to like to go to Warren Wells and also Kenny Burroughs. And right now we'll go down to another notable figure, Tom McCulley.
Thank you very much, John. Obviously down here is Sean Beckton. I tell you what, you do it all. You throw it and you catch it. It's a great couple of touchdowns.
Well, a couple flashback from my high school years when I was quarterback then. You know, they knew I was quarterback, so they knew I could throw it a little bit, so they put it in the play for me.
We're talking about seniors and leadership. What's your big memory here, Sean?
My freshman year when I caught my first pass against Bethune-Cookman on the fake punt, that was my most memorable.
All right, that's great. Congratulations. Good luck to you. Thank you very much. John, we're going to take it back upstairs to you.
His first pass, I guess that's kind of like planting a seed and growing a big oak tree or something.
Well, that's kind of like asking Babe Ruth who was the most memorable home run he ever hit. This guy's got so many of them that it's unbelievable, you know.
Well, the first quarter has come to an end, and UCF in control, 21-0. And these are the guys that are monitoring the action. Albert Reverend, a referee, Jeff Bergman, the linesman, Greg Cawthorne, the side judge, Brian Wall, the back judge, Bill Baumeister, the umpire, Sam Jones, the line judge, and the field judge is Mike Safrid. The crowd enjoying themselves with their CV caps. Gary Pierce still looking for his CV cap, and Walter Highsmith is wondering how he can get out of trouble here, trailing 21-0, and he's got a tough situation right now. 3rd down and 8, deep in his own territory. He's got to keep that ball away from the offense and let him cool down a little bit. You want to put those guys on ice.
Well, they got a quarterback that loves to sprint out, that can buy time, and Stacy Moore. Moore's the kind of kid that can roll out, he can throw the ball downfield, and this is the type of situation where best suits him, where he can buy a little time for their offense here.
Will Moore, their leading wide receiver, is wide left, and Brian Wiggins is split wide right. Baxter split behind him. They are Jackson and Henderson. Stacy Moore will take things in his own hands and trying to dance, stutter step. He looks like Randall Cunningham down there. Finally makes something happen, but he still doesn't have the first down. I think he might have it now. Hamilton finally brought him down, but boy, that was the longest play of the season, and he may have fought for that first down with some Fred Astaire-like moves.
Well, he got the first down, and that's unbelievable run by a quarterback. Just as we had talked about, he does buy time. As you'll see him right here, he's spinning out to the left. Now watch him come back to the right. We miss him right there. Bob Knott has a shot at him. Here goes Lindsey has a shot. Stewart has a shot right there. We got here comes Clifford Cole. Everybody on the team had a shot at him, and he did a great job of getting the first down.
There's his carries. He's a dangerous runner, and he's got to call timeout just to rest because he just ran a couple hundred yards there to get that 8-yard pickup. You're watching CB's Community Cable Channel, Channel 32. We'll be back with more right after this.
Now at Pizza Hut, your kids get...
Well, I don't want to interrupt that, but it's 1st and 10, and we got to get you back to the action. 14:21 left, second quarter. Good to see people coming out and having a good... That's what you're supposed to do at the Super Bowl. Have a good time. Jackson to the 20. Knocked down there. Looks like Stewart got him as we look at the numbers that have been generated so far, and it's mostly UCF. Texas Southern hadn't had the ball much. Look at the rushing yards, 113. Mark Giacone has a good portion of that. Time of possession and no turnovers so far, but the Knights have just been an offensive juggernaut so far, scoring 21 first quarter points and leading it 21-0. Stacy Moore, 5'11", 185-pound sophomore from Miami. Hands off to Henderson. Still on his feet to the 30, and finally knocked down by Shane Law, and taking number 48 Nelson for a ride with him. A good game, 1st and 10.
These fans are enjoying the game so far. It's exciting. It's different from last week, as things seem to be going our way early in the game. As we see right here, now watch Henderson run the ball right there. He does a great job of keeping his feet, keeping his balance, and doing a good job. Kerry Henderson is a good running back.
1st and 10. Stacy Moore on his bike. He's got pressure and fires, almost picked off. Jimmy Roberts had his eye on it and almost picked it off. They were trying to hit number 2 Wiggins, and Roberts with solid coverage.
Well, Brian Wiggins is the number 2 receiver coming into this ball game. He has like 26 catches. We're going to see him as the quarterback Moore sprints to his right. He's looking. Now, he's left-handed. He stops and throws, and there's a little curl pattern, but Roberts does a good job of breaking that up as we see Jimmy Roberts' stats there for the year, and his 23 total tackles, 1 interception. The main thing, he just covers people real well.
Second down and 10 for Stacy Moore. Draw play Henderson. Got some room. Low center of gravity. Henderson keeps his feet moving. Stewart knocks him down at about the 38-yard line. That'll bring up a third down in about 4, depending on where they spot it. Numbers on Henderson. 85 carries for 353 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Is long on the year, 32 yards.
We're going to watch Robert Lindsey here. Watch how low he gets as he goes right under Robert Lindsey's arms that time. That is, he's built low to the ground. He runs low to the ground. Robert Lindsey just about took his head off, but he got under that big arm.
Third down and 4 for Moore and company. They'd like to keep the football for sure. He may take it himself. Doesn't fool anybody, but he gets the first down anyway. Stewart was in position to knock him down, but it was Moore's athleticism that picks up the first down, and they'll spot this at the 48-yard line of Texas Southern. So they have started something, and most of what they have started is as a result of that guy right there, Stacy Moore.
Well, those 170 yards was design plays such as that right there, where you got the option to throw the ball downfield. Now look at Stacy here. He fakes, makes a play action. He's rolling now to his left, and he's looking downfield for a receiver. He pumps. Now that freezes Stewart, and look what he does right there. By freezing Stewart, he can go one-on-one.
First and 10. Time is called. They may have let the 25-second clock expire.
Now they're going to call timeout. They got it just in time.
The wave comes sailing through the Citrus Bowl. Big day at the Citrus Bowl, a doubleheader. We mentioned it in our pregame. Memphis State versus Florida State. Florida State, no surprise, handled them easily, and now UCF would like to provide an encore as you look at the top tacklers.
Well, you're seeing our 2 key tacklers are the 2 inside linebackers for us in Hamilton and Stewart, and they've had a fantastic year. Now that's coming into this game. They're going to add another half dozen to a dozen on there on top of that. That's just a fantastic year, and that's the way the defense, that's the way Deep Pollard designed it, to give the inside linebackers a chance to make the most of the tackles for you.
You got guys like Buckley coming in with 54 tackles, Ray Irvin as a cornerback with 52 tackles and 4 interceptions, and that's not bad either.
Well, a guy that plays hard and has had a great year is Bob Spatowski. Now, his numbers may not be up there as well as some of the others, but he has 65 tackles coming in here and 5 quarterback sacks.
Spatowski has been busy, and he's nursing a shoulder injury. Sat out last week. First and 10. Jackson was hit hard, and it may have been Stewart, and it was. Stewart and also Willie Britton, number 77, was over there, and Bob Spatowski also had a piece of that, and you look at his numbers.
Well, Bob Spatowski did an excellent job. Now, watch Bob on this play right here. As they run the option out that way, Bob set out there, boom. Nice hit by Bob Spatowski. Does a good job along with Stewart. They both just wrap him up and do a good job. It's funny how we just talk about a guy in the stars.
Spatowski was actually the guy who stayed home and allowed Stewart to pursue and cut it off inside. They'll hand off to Henderson. A flag falls. He falls forward into UCF territory. Hamilton picks him up, and we'll sort out the play.
There's going to be holding against Texas Southern. You can see one of the big offensive linemen try to tackle one of our guys, and you could almost see it happening.
Holding Texas Southern.
Well, the one thing this drive has done, it has kept the football away from Ron Johnson and company. That offense is pitching a perfect game so far. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns.
All right, now look on your bottom side of your screen. Right, yeah, we can't miss it. There's a holding penalty there in the inside. One of the big offensive linemen, I believe, grabbed Clifford Cole by the ankle, by the leg, and tried to keep him from making the tackle.
Look at the top passers, and Stacy Moore, you can see one of his problems, 12 interceptions and 11 touchdowns for UCF. Ron Johnson with a big performance last week has his touchdown interception ratio back in order at 7-4 in favor of the TD. Second down, Stacy Moore with pressure. Dumps it off, little screen to Henderson. Spatulski is there, he's down at the 41. Bob Spatulski wasn't fooled at all, and they ended up picking up just a couple.
Well, Bob does a good job of fighting off a tackle, this offensive tackle out there. Now, we're going to watch this play. This is a design screen set out to the side now. We're going to look to our left out here. Now, watch Bob Spatulski come into the picture. He fights off the tackle and makes the tackle right there. The offensive tackle was designed to kick him out. Bob fights him off, and he ends up making a tackle. Good play, good open field tackling.
Picked up 4 on the play, second down and 16. 4 wide receivers for Moore and company, a lone setback, and it is Jackson, and now time is called once again. We may have a delay this time.
And it's going to be a delay of game.
So that will bring up a third down and 21. So once again, they're back in the hole, and you get the feeling Stacy Moore may call on his instincts once again and try to dance for the first down, but he's got a long dance ahead of him if he tries that.
In situations like this, I used to hate to look across the line because all you see these guys, you got their ears pinned back and they're ready. They know you're going to try to throw the ball, and they're coming full speed.
Knights with an extra defensive back in there on third down and 21 for Stacy Moore. A lot of pressure. Wright was blitzing from a safety position. Moore going over the middle. Incomplete, almost picked off. Gibson and Buckley were eyeing it. They were trying to hit number 87, Will Moore, the bread and butter man, but the defense was very sound.
We watch Moore drop straight back. Now watch the pressure from Wright. Wright's out there. Now he messes up the throwing right there. Then he messes it up right there. You see by making him get up and throw the ball high and over his man. Good job, and Eric Buckley was downfield and did a good job of being in the right spot in case the ball was low. He could have an interception there if it had been a little lower.
Curtis Neal is the punter. He stands on his own 23-yard line, and Beckton back at his 32 awaiting the kick. Neal averaging 34.2. End over end, and Beckton fields it at the 25. Field 35-40. Stutter step to the 42. Pretty good return by Sean Beckton. He was knocked down by number 16, Donald Randall, a reserve cornerback. The Knights again have it first and 10, and they huddle on their sideline before going out.
Sean Beckton's being looked at by a lot of the pro scouts. And one of the things they wanted to find out how well he returns the ball. Now, this is not a luxury that he's been doing all year. This is something that he's been doing. This is new to him. But the pros like to see, if we see a bunch of pretty cheerleaders with CV hats on, see how Beckton can return that those punts.
2 wide receivers are split wide right. Everybody seems to have a CV hat on tonight. First and 10. Willie English. Big seam right side inside of Tiger territory to the 40. Down to the 40. Out of bounds at the 15. He was chased out of bounds by everybody on that defensive side of the ball. Willie Montgomery, number 30, escorted him out of bounds first, but a big gain for Willie.
Well, Willie English has had some good runs this year, but he's been hurt by some penalties. We see the toss again. Now you'll see Montrell Green out there. You'll see Tom Leapie out there doing a good job. Willie does a good job of getting outside. Now look at the athletic ability right here. He just no substitute for speed.
First and 10 at the 17-yard line for the Knights. Coltrane and Cooper into the game. You'd like to see Coltrane catch one. Willie English on a pitch right side. Inside the 10, down to the 5 before he is popped out of bounds. Number 90, Melvin Evans, 6'4", 300-pound junior, one of those guys that goes both ways. And if you're an offensive lineman and you have to play defensive lineman, that's tough. As a look at UCF numbers versus their opponents, total offense 376 to 251. Passing offense is overshadowed just a bit by that ground control with Coach Al Gooch. He sends out his regulators these days, and they control and direct, and that's what they're doing early here. First and goal from the 4, and first back through. If he's not in, he's close. We're waiting for the call.
Now looked like Perry Belaces. I'm not sure who it was. Montrell Green, rather, did a good job of coming up. And that's that play where you do that, where you run the toss so many times, John, that you just do that quick handoff up the middle. You see it right here. Now, that's just trying to hope that you get your linebackers out of position. They're trying to key the toss, and they start to move before the ball snaps. I hope that you find a nice seam up there. As Craig Marsden did a good job of allowing him to pick up the yardage there.
First and goal from inside the one as Marsden, 6'2", 235, led the charge. Willie English is up and over for his 9th touchdown on the year, so he is keeping pace with Mark Giacone, and both have tied the single-season touchdown record tonight.
Well, again, Craig Marsden down here from Melbourne, Florida, down on my neck of the woods down near Vero Beach, is a good football player. And I remember him when he played in high school, and he just did a great job that time of getting a big surge that time, allowing Willie English to take the ball right over his back.
Gorilla comes out, and if you are a football coach, you want your team to peak at the end and get ready for the playoffs. And boy, if they are peaking, if they're not peaking, rather, you got to be surprised, because this club looks like a machine that all of a sudden has found all cylinders. With a score, UCF 28-0 with 8:38 left in the first half. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more UCF football right after this. Tells the story. The Knights in control by 4 touchdowns. 4 possessions have produced 4 TDs. Gorilla kicks off once again. The deep men, number 44 Henderson and Joe Rogers, number 80. With a pooch kick, short kick taken at the 31, and it's a fumble, and I think the Knights are on it. We'll have to wait and see. They had a shot at the football, and they may have come up with it. A good call, because they boomed him into the end zone on the previous kickoffs, and they caught him napping. And I think Texas Southern does have the football.
Well, I thought Derek Baselinger, number 74, would come up on the ball, and he had some help down there with some other guys on there, and it looked like Tommy Willis was the one to recover that fumble on that play. But that was a nice kick. That was one that fooled everybody, and that was the design play. If it hits the ground, it's a live ball, and then UCF has an opportunity to recover it. It's almost like an onside kick, but you got everybody playing deep to put you right in there. As we see the ball bouncing around down there, UCF is all around it, and we see there's Willis coming up right there and makes the recovers the fumble.
Stacey Moore, a lot of time. Thompson's got himself a hookup down there. The Wilmore just short of the first down. Pickup of 8, call it 2nd and 2 at the 42. Roberts providing the coverage.
Well, Will Moore is their favorite receiver coming into this game. He had 39 receptions. But the most important factor, he had 8 touchdowns. 1 of every 5 passes he catches down is for a touchdown. So he's a big play man, and they got to try to get the ball to him more often.
He leads the team in scoring. Dangerous man over there that Jimmy Roberts has to contend with. Walter Gibson is into the corner for UCF. That's Jackson hurdling over for the first down. Knocked down by number 77 Britton and number 48 Nelson, but should have the first down depending on where they spot the football. They're going to call for a measurement. Willie Britton, number 77, is quite an athlete for UCF.
Well, we're going to see the handoff right here as you see him working. Now, Timmy Jackson's working hard, and he dives. His second effort gets the first down for Texas Southern. Does a good job on his second effort.
Britton was down there and tripped him up, 6'2", 245-pound sophomore. He was a second-team All-State selection in football in high school. And as a basketball player, he averaged 16.7 points a game at Lee High School in Jacksonville, so he can play. Stacey Moore in trouble. Back to Will Moore, and he may be another gain of 8. So Will Moore came back when his QB was in trouble, and escorting him out of bounds was number 3, Jimmy Roberts. 2nd down and 2, and that's what they need to do, pick up a decent gain on first down, and they have some options.
Well, each team has stars, and you've got to get your stars involved in the ball game. Will Moore is a top performer. He's a star on this team. He has to get involved in the game, and that's the most important.
If you look at their pass-catching leaders, Moore and Wiggins, the 2 wide receivers, are 1 and 2. Then Neal, their tight end, and then Ramirez, another wide receiver. This one's on the ground. The Knights are on it. It's Bob Spitolski that comes up with it, number 56.
This play really never had a chance from the very conception of it when the fumble started, when the handoff was made, and it was right here. Now watch it, boom, right there. He trips, he falls, and Jackson never has a chance of getting the ball as he was falling back as he tried to make that handoff. So that play never had a chance to really get materialized.
Spitolski, 6'3", 220 pounds, and he's a junior. Many people around this program feel he is a pro prospect when he's through. He'll have a shot. Giacone inside the 50, then digs for a couple more to about the 47-yard line or 48-yard line before he's tripped up. And you look at so far, 3 fumbles. They lost 1. The Knights have played perfect football on the night.
Well, the mark of a good team is that when you can capitalize on the turnovers and become opportunistic of that nature, and that's what UCF has to do tonight, and they've done it so far in this game.
Well, UCF may have a 28-0 lead, but Franco Grillo will not quarterback. He's warming up his cannon, and perhaps he might be up to some trickery, but I don't think they're going to give Franco the ball. What do you think, Gary? They're going to say, Franco, you kick it.
I don't know. Mike Krusick got a lot of things in his bag of tricks over there. We may find out. We may never find out.
Well, it's been that kind of night. 6:09 and counting here in the first half. UCF controlling it 28-0. Third down and about 3 to go for the Knights. Ball on the 45 of the Tigers. Ron Johnson got the start. He's got Jefferson at the top of your screen. Beckton is wide left, and the backs are in an eye behind him. Plays fake, dumps it off to Ron Fowl. Has a first down inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. He was hit hard down there after catching the football. Coming up to make the tackle was number 19, Lamar Brown, at defensive back.
What makes that play so wide open, as we watch Ron Johnson going straight back, is the linebackers have dropped so deep to take away the curls. Now you'll see the hole was there, and Ron Johnson does a good job of finding his back. So that's been a big plus play for us this first half, is that throw to the back in the flat.
First and 10 from the 29. You look at Bow's numbers. He was out several weeks with a knee injury. He came back a little bit earlier than anyone expected him to. Giacone bounces forward for just a couple. What really? We're going downstairs with Tom McCullion is standing by.
Go. Hey, thank you very much, John. I'm down here with Jimmy Roberts. Jimmy, we're talking about the seniors and all their memories there at UCF. What's your biggest memory that you have you take away from this?
Oh, well, it had to be the first start in '87. My first game, I was a freshman. And, cornerback had got hurt, so I stepped in and played. I had a good game. I had like 7 tackles and interception. That had to be my best thrill of the year.
That's probably will only be upstarted when you go into the playoffs and intercept that one touchdown to win the championship, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you very much, Jimmy. John, we're going to take it back upstairs to you for the rest of the action.
Thank you, Tom. Keith Patterson wrestles a low to the ground wearing number 41, Mark Giacone, and that will bring up the third down and about 4 to go for UCF. Ball spotted at the 24. They need to get to just inside the 20, so call it a long for the Knights.
Big play right here for the Knights right here. Ron Johnson and this play. This is a good play right here. Find out what he's going to do.
Got a lot of field to work with to his right. Let's see what happens. He'll come left to Giacone, short side of the field. He's got a first down. Was knocked out of bounds right at the 19-yard line by number 19, Lamar Brown, but he did get the first down.
What makes that a good play, John, is that the character of the quarterback and the team. And if you can go out and you make this play on this toss right here, Perry Valacious does a good job of freezing the linebacker, allowing Giacone to get outside. Perry getting at his feet does a good job. But it's a character builder, and that's what makes it a good play. When you got that 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, those are what builds the character for a team.
We've got Robert Lee Connor in now as a double tight. The Knights won this one 49-12 last year. Series is 1-0 in favor of UCF. They were leading 28-0 at half last season. So this is almost a mirror image of last year's ball game with Texas Southern. Valacious took the carry and found no room at all up the middle. He just popped pretty hard down there by number 50, Louis Craig.
This defense has 2 real outstanding linebackers in Kevin Harris and Rodney Green. I was talking to the coaches as we see Green right there, his stats on him and all. He's been hurt. That's why his tackles are down. They say he's a pro prospect. Now, you see Green come up and make a tackle. He's 6'5". Both those guys are 6'5". A lot of pros are looking at those two linebackers.
Johnson may be looking for Beckton deep. He is into the corner. Beckton's open. He's got a touchdown. Beckton had sticky fingers on that play and got himself another TD. That's touchdown number 5 for him. And this game is becoming a rout in a hurry. Well, give credit to both the athletes there, the quarterback and the wide receiver, because the quarterback had patience enough to wait for him to try to get open, found a spot and threw it to a spot, knowing his receiver is a good athlete. And that was just a fantastic catch where a throw was just thrown it to a spot.
Reggie Stubblefield, number 10, was beaten on the play as Grillo out of the hole to Ron Johnson is perfect on the extra point. The Knights lead it 35-0 with 3:09 to go in the first half. And we're going down to Tom McCullion, who has got himself some visitors.
Hey, thank you very much, John. We're down here with some Soviet citizens that are here watching their very first college football game, and I'm here with Dr. Mike Garber. And Dr. Garber, what do you think of this excitement down here?
It's fantastic. First, we were present at the basketball match with Magic and Dallas team, and we helped them a lot, so they did win the game. We were invited now to the football game. I think we might help.
How does this compare to the sports in the Soviet Union?
Unfortunately, we have no American football back in Soviet Union. We have much popular soccer, but we hope that it might be popular. And now we have the first league for the football organized back in Soviet Union. One of our plans is bringing our Soviet sportsmen here.
Well, great. We're really excited having you here, and I hope you enjoy yourselves.
This is great, John.
Take it back upstairs to you. Fans from all over the world.
We're going to see Ron Johnson. Now, look, Ron's looking. Now, he's throwing to a spot. Now, he's throwing to an area, and there you go. You see Sean Beckton make the catch.
Another pooch kick for Grillo. They signal for a fair catch at the 30, so no mistake is made this time by Texas Southern, and that was handled nicely by number 88, Charles Webb. There's a look at that scoring drive. 8 plays, 51 yards, 3 minutes and 57 seconds off the clock. 17-yard TD reception by Sean Beckton. He's already thrown one. He ran one in, and now he's got himself a TD catch.
He couldn't have thrown it to any other spot, Ron Johnson, and had the touchdown. And that's the good part about that play.
Perhaps if it was a little cooler, we might have seen one of those patented Russian caps. I wanted to see one of those fur hats that you have to wear, but it's nice getting a visit. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more UCF football right after this. Got an awful lot to cheer about tonight at the Citrus Bowl. 3:09 to go in the first half. UCF 35-0, and you've got to check the scoreboard every couple of seconds to stay current because they've scored that frequently tonight. First and 10 for Stacy Moore. 4 wide receivers for him. He's got pressure. Now has to improvise, and Spitulski came back and wrestled him to the ground at the 30. Bobby Spitulski putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback tonight. Tonight's a pressure-oriented defense, so that's no surprise.
Well, that was a blitz play by Bobby Spitulski. He came from his outside. Now, you'll see him come from the outside. He goes around right there, beats the offensive tackle. Now he's going up there, makes the tackle right there as Stacy Moore moves to his left. Nice sack by Bob Spitulski.
Stacy Moore again trying to go up top. He's got problems again. Hamilton is chasing him, and he gets a first down. So Moore, who is perhaps the best athlete on this football team, is starting to take things into his own hands and moving the football up the field. He is dangerous. Was a great athlete down at Miami Edison High School.
That time you'll see the linebackers were not able to get outside to help, as we saw Rick Hamilton dive there. We had a blitz on from the outside by Bob Spitulski again, but Rick Hamilton got caught up, tied up in the middle, couldn't get out there to help.
They're spotting this thing near the chain. Perhaps they're not going to give him the first down on it if he didn't get it. He didn't miss it by much. 29 sacks this year for UCF. They need just 2 to set a new record, and it's a season of records for UCF. When you look at what they've done on the ground, they've already rushed for more yards than they ever have in the past. Guys like Sean Beckton breaking records every time he catches the football.
Well, Deke Pollard has done a good job. When you play a man-to-man defense, you've got to put pressure on the quarterback, and that means you've got to blitz, you've got to stunt, you've got to do things that will disrupt the quarterback, and he's done a good job his first year here.
Stacey Moore has the ball, 1st and 10 at the 40. And there's a flag on the field, and I think they've caught somebody moving down there.
Dead ball start, Texas Southern.
So Dardis Alexander, the left guard, kind of rocked in his spot there, and they caught him for movement that time as he was just moving back. And that's these are the things that drive a coach crazy. As we see the movement right there. There's Dardis right there. You can't jump, Dardis. You got to sit there, buddy.
1st and 15 back at the 35. Stacey Moore getting pressure from Spitulski. Wilmore has it if he caught it in bounds. Nice looking gain at the 48, and he did. Buckley was chasing him down there, but Wilmore, their big play guy, picks up about 17 and a 1st down.
Well, now, what happened on that play, Spitulski was blitzing. Now what happens is that you get Rick Hamilton coming across, and Rick Hamilton helps out. Now watch Rick Hamilton. He's going to nail Moore, and Moore had to leave the game. He is out for a play as he got rocked that time by Hamilton, and you're going to see another quarterback come in.
Number 9, Ronnie Tolliver. He's the man that faced UCF last year, 6'4", 180-pound junior. Throwing 9 TDs and 15 interceptions, so he's had a problem with his accuracy. He'll go back, throw the football on 1st and 10, go up top for the first time. He's in the game, and he missed his man. He's trying to hit Rogers. Didn't waste any time going for the home run ball.
Now, if he'd have been a little warmer, had not just come in for one play, Rogers did a good job of getting by Jimmy Roberts that time and got downfield. Now, Tolliver is in the game. He's thrown the ball for over 1,000 yards, as we can see there. Watch the drop back. Now, this is a touch pass. If he'd just been a little more loose, a little looser, a little warmer, he might hit this because he's got his man wide open there, and that could have been a big play for him.
Tonight's doing some substituting in that secondary now with a comfortable 35-0 lead. Tolliver's got Bob Knott after him. Now directs traffic and fires. He's got a hook up and now drop. He had Joe Rogers, and Rogers had it at about the 31, but when he hit the ground, the ball squirted out. It's going to bring up a 3rd down play for this Texas Southern team now. 3rd down and 10.
When you blitz your linebackers, as we're doing, Spitulski comes there. Now watch Tolliver buy time. He gets by Bob not there, and watch him buy time. He's just buying time. Now he's directing out there. He throws the ball downfield. Rogers makes a gallant effort. He had it in his hands. When he hits the ground, it pops out. But he bought time when he got outside, lost containment.
4 wide receivers. Stacey Moore is back in. Knott is after him. They're going to shake him up again. Knott picks up a sack back at the 39. Lose about 12 or 13 on that play. Bob Knott was just zeroing in on him.
Our defensive linemen are not big horses. A guy like Bob Knott's about 225 pounds, but he's got a lot of quickness, and that's his biggest asset in his tribute. Now watch Bob. He goes outside. He takes a move right here. He rips underneath there. Now he has his quarterback zeroed in. He takes Tolliver down with Bob Spitulski on his heels. Good job. That's a good combination there. What they're doing, UCF, is they're blitzing Spitulski almost every play. It's almost like having a defensive end on the outside.
Lost 13 on the play, 4th down and 23. So Curtis Neal will be looking to punt the ball one more time tonight. With 1:50 to go in the first half, the Knights have lit up the scoreboard 35-0. Beckton is back at the 25, awaiting the boot from that man. We'll look at Sean. Many scouts in attendance tonight, and they're eyeing number 4. Beckton has to go back over the shoulder at the 20. Out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. Could be a late hit, and it was. They're going to get number 2. Wiggins that came over. 88 ran him out of bounds initially for this club. Charles Webb, and then Wiggins came over, and I think he picked up a flag.
Well, he was about 3 or 4 yards out of bounds, and I don't know if his momentum sometimes that happens where you can't slow down. You try to slow down, end up making contact, and it's a good call.
Dead ball, personal foul, Texas Southern.
And the reason I say it's a good call is you've got to
First down.
get the ball players to stop and try to prevent the injuries that happen on the sideline.
Dead ball, personal foul, Texas Southern, first down.
I would think you'd really have to be mindful of that point when you've got a game like this as you look at the penalty situation. 5 for 40 yards for the Tigers, and again, UCF is perfect in another category. But frustration could certainly set in, and you've got to send a message to the players. You're going to control the action down there. Shotgun, UCF wants more. 5 wide receivers. Johnson back. Ron Johnson not afraid to run. Into Tiger territory after a good block by Cooper, and Chad Payne, number 85, who's in the game now. You see Marsden in a hurry up, 1:28 left in the first half.
Ron does a good job avoiding and trying to get downfield. The only thing that I think Coach McDowell or Coach Trusick would want him as we watch this play right here is get out of bounds. Now, when you get all you can right there, either take a slide, now get out of bounds. Now, see like he turns upfield right there? Get out of bounds right there, stop the clock.
Johnson back to pass, batted at the line of scrimmage. Ron Johnson wasn't shy about taking on Hermie Thomas, number 40, the quarterback, but I agree with you. Get out of bounds and you stop the clock, but I think Johnson is just in an intense groove right now, and he tried to run him over.
Well, he's such a competitor. You know, he came back and he started last week. He lost his job in the second and the third quarter, and he came back in the fourth quarter and won the game for us in a great comeback. And like you said, he's excited.
5 wide receivers for number 15, Johnson. Steps up again. He's on the run to the 40. This time he did get out of bounds right at the mark. And they'll give him the spot. It's first down at the 35-yard line, just inside the 35 of the Tigers. 1:10 left. So he must be listening to Coach Paris.
Well, what he did that time was he said, I'm not going to take another hit. I'm going to slide on out of there.
There's a look at that rushing record that the Knights have set. 1990 is season of records here at UCF, and if they should make it into the playoffs, it's like a second season, and it'll be interesting to see what develops. Johnson back out of the shotgun. He's a running back on this sequence. Skates to the 30, lowers his head to about the 28. Before he's knocked down, and another flag, and I think they're going to get another late hit. Number 26, James Williams, 6 foot 201-pound junior, came in a little bit late after Johnson was already tripped up, and I don't know what the flag's all about. They may call UCF with perhaps blocking a little bit late. We'll have to see.
It was a late contact in there of one of the UCF players.
Dead ball, personal foul, Central Florida, second down.
Now, the thing with Ron Johnson doing all this running,
66.
and they're going to call that, it's going to be on Andy Bishop, probably for us, as we watch the play here. Now, watch Ron. Ron's going to slide, goes down. Now, watch Bishop here. Boom. All he's trying to do is get the man off his quarterback. But again, the play the whistle had blown, and you can't do that, Andy. But my point being, excuse me, John, is that all this running, they're going to let him do a little bit of this running, as long as he doesn't throw the ball downfield.
Back at the 44 now, 2nd and 19. Johnson back to pass. Hook up to Teddy Coltrane, number 20, at the 41. Teddy Coltrane's one of those guys that you'd love to see pick a touchdown off. He's kind of like John Osborne. He had a back injury that he dealt with this year. Has 6 catches for 60 yards. He's had more activity in previous years. That injury hurt him just a bit, but he's one of those guys that'll run the route for you, go over the middle and make things happen.
And he has 3 receptions for 17 yards. Does a good job of getting out of bounds on that last one.
3rd down and 16, Johnson. Underneath to Chad Payne, a pitch and a catch, and Payne is tackled over there, could not get away. He was lassoed by number 26, James Williams. Chad came in with 1 catch for 19 yards. That's his 2nd catch on the season.
Well, when he caught that ball, he was down. His knee was on the ground, and that's when they blew the whistle there. So it's going to be 4th down.
4th down and 10 for Johnson. 5 wide receivers out of the shotgun. Steps up and looks, and he goes right to Chad Payne at the marker. Got a 1st down to about the 17. Chad Payne was hit hard by number 10, Reggie Stubblefield, a defensive back. You see that clock. UCF, I'm surprised they're not looking at a field goal right now.
Well, I guess they don't. I don't know if they have any timeouts left or they used them all. But they're going to throw that ball real quick on this one or try to go up for one more score here.
Well, they're saying the clock has expired. Time has expired, and we're going to have to sort this out. Johnson wanted to just give Franco Grillo a chance to come out and kick the field goal.
Well, you know, in pro football, you can do that. I'm not sure you can do that in college football without have intentional grounding, because there was no receiver in the area, and that was definitely intentional grounding. But what they're arguing is that he got it back with 3 seconds. He threw it down. There should be 1 second left, and the officials are not going to. They say no way.
He definitely beat the clock, but they're saying not this time. So the Knights will not be able to add to that total of 35, and Ron Johnson wants to go over and get the conversation going on it, but he won't win that one. What a first half for the Knights. As you said earlier, just what the doctor ordered after last week's game.
Well, we see Coach McDowell out there now. He wants to find out, too, what was the ruling on that? What happened? When the ball hits the ground, it should have been an incomplete pass, and he's thinking he should have 1 tick left. But that's to no avail, Gene. You're not going to win that one. But you're right. This is what the doctor prescribed here. You needed to come back and have a solid game. You hit a key factor earlier in the game, John. Teams need to peak at the right time. Today, Eastern Kentucky loses to Moorhead, a team that maybe had 3 or 4 wins coming into the ball game. Had they peaked? I mean, that's a question that a coach you really don't know until you start playing at the end of the season. You find out at the end of the season how well your team is ready to go into the tournament. And what happened was maybe they peaked too early, and now maybe UCF is just now catching fire. And that's what a coach hopes for, that you're catching fire at the right time, especially when you enter the tournament.
Well, the Knights have done it all tonight. They have thrown some gadget plays in, along with just solid ground control style offense. Ron Johnson has provided a steady performance as well. As you look at some of this UCF faithful on hand here to see the season finale, the regular season finale, I should note, because the Knights are very excited about the possibility of extending their season into postseason play. And if they should, Gary, the chance of a game here is very likely. Let's go downstairs where Tom McCullion is standing by.
Coach, John and Gary were talking earlier that you want to really have your team peaking going into the playoffs, hoping that we're going to get here. I tell you what, looking at the performance at the first half here, you got to be happy. You got to be getting ready to peak.
I don't think it takes a genius to know that you want to peak if you're good enough to get in the playoffs. And yeah, I think we're playing the best football right now we've played all year. And obviously we want to continue to get better. There were some things that happened in that half that I don't like. 2 times we don't get out of bounds there on the 2-minute drill. Chad Payne didn't go out of bounds. Ron Johnson didn't go out of bounds. And then I felt like the official blew it. We had 2 seconds. We're on the clock when the ball hit the ground. They blew that. We scored 5 straight possessions, had a chance to get a field goal on the 6th possession of the half. If we had scored every possession of that half, it would have been the first time in the history of UCF that had happened against any opponent. That's why I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a chance to kick that field goal.
We were talking earlier before the game about the leadership that comes with 17 of these guys, seniors here playing. What do you think about the guys that brought you here today?
There are 19 guys. There's 19 seniors instead of 17. There are 19 guys on this football team that played in the Division II playoffs when we played and lost to the national champion, Troy State. If we can get in the playoffs with this team, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be the first time in the history of football that many people played on 2 different championship levels in the playoffs. There's a lot of firsts for this team. I really don't think that Orlando appreciates what's happened on this football team this year.
Well, there's a lot of fans out here that do, and you're right. I think we can fill the stands, and you're going for that next week. You want the first playoff game to be here in this stadium. We're
going to have the first playoff game probably here unless there's some kind of foul-up somewhere. If we're good enough to be in the playoffs, if we don't have a big crowd here for the first game of the playoffs next Saturday, then we can forget having the second game here. So it just depends on whether or not our fans want us to play at home in the playoffs. Obviously, it gives you a lot better chance to win if you play at home.
Question is, do they want a championship team here or not?
I think you're laying out the challenge here. If you think you're seeing good football on TV, you need to be here in the stands next weekend.
That's right.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much.
Ticket, even if you don't come to the game.
We'll see you next week. John, we're going to take it back upstairs to you.
Well, a couple significant points made, Gary. Our genius status went right out the window, and Tom and the coach agreed on something down there. So I think we've got a momentous occasion, along with quite a score at 35-0.
Well, you're right. You're right there, buddy.
And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more of our halftime show right after this.
CV Sports welcomes you back to second half action from the Florida Citrus Bowl. And now, here are John Kirk and Gary Parrish.
Back at the Citrus Bowl, we're set to start the second half. The Knights in control in a big way, 35-0, and they'll get the football to start things off. This is the first kickoff of the night for Texas Southern, and that tells you something is wrong on their side of the ball. Jefferson is the deep man for UCF, and Willie English along with Falacis will be the upback. You look at the speedy Sean Jefferson wearing number 14. He can find the seam in a hurry, and if he gets a step on you, you'll never get it back until he's in the end zone. UCF is closing strong in 1990. This is their final game, looking to run their record to 8-3 and extend their season to postseason play. Jefferson has to go back like Willie Mays, watches him hop into the end zone. 1st and 10 for UCF on the 20, and we look at the numbers for the first half, and they have been extremely lopsided numbers indeed. First downs, 19-7. Look at the rushing yardage, 218 in the first half. The Knights are averaging 203 each game, so they've already surpassed their normal figure for 60 minutes in just 30 minutes. One penalty for the Knights, and the time of possession surprisingly equal. That's because when UCF gets it, it doesn't take them very long to light up the scoreboard. 1st and 10 from the 20 for Johnson and company. He's got Falacis and Giacone behind him, and he'll give it to Giacone going right, and he's lassoed down there by number 45, Keith Patterson, 6'2", 245-pound sophomore from Miami.
As Coach McDowell told us, it doesn't take a couple geniuses, which we're not, to recognize the fact that you want to peak at the right time of the year. And you see the top rusher so far for this, the Giacone has 105 yards the first half. What a great first half. I'd like to see him get that 200. I'd like to really do see it. But the most important factor is to peak right now.
He needs just 16, and Beckton on the bicycle out to the 41-yard line, and he's knocked out by Keith Patterson as well. Well, all we have to, it's academic now in the when you talk of Giacone's chances of becoming the all-time rushing leader at UCF. He needs just 16 yards. That's his 6th straight 100-yard rushing performance, as you see Beckton. He's done it all tonight, but it will be, or it has been, Giacone's 6th 100-yard game on the season. 1st and 10 at the 41 for Johnson and company. Wide receivers are Beckton and Cooper. He goes back to Beckton right at the line of scrimmage, midfield, 45, 40, out to the 36-yard line, finally knocked down by number 28, who had to come from behind to sit him down. That's Eric Gooden.
Well, the good thing that's happening right now is we watch Ron Johnson hit the quick pass out here to Beckton. It's like a wide receiver screen. Is that now you're loosening up the linebackers. You're loosening up the secondary a little bit, which opens up your running game a little more.
Marsden the center, Lightly and Bishop the guards, and Goforth and Connor the tackles for UCF. The tight end is Robert Lee Connor. To about the 29 goes Giacone before he's roughed up by number 24, Chris Daggs, and also Alan Anderson. NCAA Division I AA Sweet 16 selection tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We'll provide that coverage for you live on CV Sports, so a great chance for you to get on the grapevine and find out if UCF will indeed be involved in postseason activities in 1990. Don't want to miss that. And Giacone struggling to about the 25-yard line, has a first down. He was popped by number 11. Curtis Neal came up to say hello as well.
Well, you know, I've been given a couple scores, and to bring our listeners up to date of what's happening, as we watch Mark Giacone go right up the middle, number 14 Idaho has defeated number 5 Boise State 21-14. So that's going to hurt Boise State in the sense it'll drop them down, and it's going to make Idaho's chances a stronger chance too.
Jefferson and Beckton, the wide receivers. Stop and pop right at the line of scrimmage. Ball may have been tipped by number 94 who came over, Brian Brewer, 6'4", 245-pound senior. I think he might have got a paw on it.
Another score we've gotten in, John, is that Furman has defeated the Citadel 30-17. So that drops the Citadel to 4 losses. And as we see Ron Johnson here try to attempt this pass out there, and you're right, he got deflected out there. So the Citadel now will drop to 7-4, and that may hurt their chances, and they will rank ahead of us.
So the Knights may indeed have their future in their hands right here. With a win, they may be in the playoffs. Cooper curls it in to about the 4 after making a nice catch. Brett Cooper, Alan Anderson, number 25, rode him down, but once again, it has been a textbook performance for Gene McDowell's UCF Knights tonight. They are running up the score, 35-0, and still running quick. And you and I are jumping all over each other.
Well, I was going to say, good job by Ron Johnson. As we watch the instant replay here, Johnson does a good job of rolling to his right. Now watch Cooper do a little curl, comes back to meet the pass, and picks up the first down.
Giacone has a lane and has his 10th rushing touchdown on the season, and I would venture to guess if Giacone hasn't picked up the 16 yards he needed to break the all-time rushing record held by Elgin Davis, he's very close on that sequence. He carried the ball a few times, and every time he touched it, he was able to be productive. So another touchdown for Mark Giacone as you look at his fiancée,
Libby Miller. That's who the young lady is.
Alan Gooch, the running back coach, is talking to Mark Giacone, who is now the all-time career rushing leader at UCF. And Alan Gooch had some special words for his guy wearing number 41. Really, another point after touchdown extends the UCF lead now to 42-0. You're watching CB's Community Cable Channel, Channel 32. We'll be back with more UCF time on the night. I believe that's their first penalty. They've played near perfect football so far.
Central Florida.
Leading at 42-0 with 11:40 to go in the third quarter. And there's Grilla, who's having a great season as well. Franco's been very steady. 1 for 1. And
there's football. Now that's football. Look at big Alex Goforth sitting there. Got that blood. John Madden would go crazy right now seeing blood out there. That's one of them big offensive linemen that has helped Mark Giacone become the leading rusher at UCF. And that's, you got to love a guy that looks like that.
6'3", 280-pounder from Kentucky, Alex Goforth. They call him the masher, and right now he needs a cut man in his corner.
Well, that 280 is being generous. I believe he's bigger than 280.
And we're going downstairs to talk to King Giacone.
I tell you what, I'm real happy to have down here, of course, Mark Giacone and then Elgin Davis. And I tell you what, it's kind of had to be a bittersweet moment for you, Elgin, to see another great record fall.
Well, I feel very fortunate to have had an opportunity to set some records, and I always feel like records were made to be broken. And I'm happy to see Giacone go ahead and do a wonderful job, and I'm pulling for him. And I really hope the team goes on past this point to go into their goals, and that's to see the national championship led by this fella right here.
We were talking about leadership earlier, and I tell you what, Mark Giacone leads by example. Mark, you're one of the happiest guys here tonight.
I'm very happy, but I'd say I owe it to my offensive line, and the fullbacks and tight ends did a great job, and the whole team is just doing great. I'm just fortunate to be the one to break the record. It's really an honor to break Elgin's record, because I always looked up to Elgin. So, but like Elgin said, records are meant to be broken. I hope someday someone breaks mine. But
I tell you what, it is a great record, and you're both great sportsmen and great examples of this fine university. Congratulations to you both.
Well, to quote Carly Simon, nobody does it better. And a late hit from Giacone, or rather Kotar, number 44. We're talking about Mark Giacone so much. It was 44 on 44, and Kotar, one of the great special teams player, gets ticketed there. 1st and 10. Stacy Moore trying to hit his man Wilmore, and Gibson with good coverage, but Wilmore holds on for a pickup of about 15, 1st and 10.
Now the difference is the two quarterbacks. Tolliver is a drop back, more of a drop back quarterback. Ronnie Tolliver, who came into this game with over 1,000 yards passing, has these tall, lanky quarterback. There you see him drop straight back. He hits more. The wide receiver does a good job. He's trying to get more involved in the ball game. Whereas the other receiver, quarterback, likes to scramble.
It is Tolliver in. He goes underneath to Curtis Neal, his tight end. Neal's been busy this year. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. 6'5", 228-pound senior at 19 grabs coming in, so they like to go to their tight end, Curtis Neal.
And not only is he a good tight end, but he's their punter, too. He does 2 jobs out there for him. As you see, now here's Tolliver dropping straight back. He's tall. He's about 6'4". He's a drop back quarterback, gets his tight end on underneath. Where Stacy Moore's shorter, he likes to scramble.
Tolliver back to pass, going deep, has a man, and it is incomplete. Will Moore reaching, could not reach far enough. Second down. TV game of the week, Evans versus Apopka. Air date for that one, November 19th, 6:30. We invite you to sit back and enjoy high school football on TV Sports. And we're going downstairs where Tom McCullion is standing by.
Thank you, and another fine senior down here, Craig Martin. I tell you what, we're talking about memories of this great fine 4 or 5 years you've been here. What is your best memory?
Right now is my best memory because we're playing the way that I know we can play. And if we just keep playing this way and dominate this team, I know we can carry it right over into the playoffs, and that's the best memories I can. I'm building memories.
I tell you what, and you're a fine senior. I tell you what, thanks very much. Congratulations. We're going to see you. John, take it back upstairs.
So Craig Marsden, these are the good old days, I guess. His best memory is today.
Well, you know, that's it. As we watch the quarterback drop straight back here, Tolliver, he's looking downfield, looking, buys a little time, and he just throws this ball completely out of bounds. Instead of taking a sack right there as Lindsey comes up on him, he just throws it out of bounds. What you like about Craig Marsden is Craig is saying, yeah, this is a big moment for me. We got a shot at going to playoff. I want to play another football game. I was waiting for one of the guys to say that.
4th down and 5. Tolliver fumbles the snap, and UCF has it. We're going downstairs once again. Willie Britton came up with the football. Willie's that guy that we talked about as a second-team All-State football player in high school, averaged 16.7 points a game in basketball, so he's a pretty good athlete. He's got himself a fumble recovery.
Well, we were going to try to go down to Tom, but Tom was going to grab one of those offensive linemen again, but they got the ball back, and we'll have to wait next series to talk to the offensive lineman.
The offense has been a busy bunch tonight for sure. Ron Johnson has gone all the way for UCF. 2 wide receivers. This is Beckton at the line, got some blockers in front of him. Connor delivers a nice blow down to the 38-yard line, goes Sean Beckton. 1st and 10 for UCF. Making the play was number 70, who came over pursuing nicely, Melvin L. Evans. He's an offensive tackle as well as a defensive tackle, so he's got to be blowing like a bull. You look at Beckton's numbers on the night. 2 TDs. He's also thrown 1 and ran for 1.
As we see this play here now, what's Derek Connor out here and Tom Leapy? Now, they don't mind doing this 2 or 3 times a game, but they're going to go back and say to Ron Johnson, don't make a steady diet of this. That's too far for us to run.
Mix up there. Johnson improvises, and he'll still pick up a reasonable gain on 1st down. Call it a pickup of 5, 2nd down and 5. That's when you know things are going your way, when you've got a mix-up and you can turn it into positive yardage.
If somebody went the wrong way, and Ron Johnson said, well, wait a minute, guys, I didn't design that one. I didn't call that one there. We see Ron Johnson, the tail end of this play, is Ron does the next best thing, and that is, like you said, to improvise and get on out of bounds.
It was nice seeing Elgin Davis, the record setter that came by to see Mark Giacone set a new standard of excellence in terms of career rushing yardage. Johnson, play fake, same play on the other side. This is Sean Beckton, falls forward to about the 32-yard line. He just barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Number 94 was pursuing hot and heavy Brian Brewer, and Beckton just lost the footing.
Well, Sean was talking to Derek Hunter that time, and he said, you're going to have to get upfield a little bit so I don't have to come back so much. As we watch the play here, this is just like a wide receiver screen. You got Leapy and you got Derek Connor coming outside. There he had to hesitate. He lost his footing and fell forward.
3rd down and 2. 2 wide receivers to the left. That's Cooper in the slot. And Willie English gets the ball, has a 1st down to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Goodbye, Willie. Touchdown, Willie English. So he's got himself another rushing touchdown. That's 10 for him. So him and Giacone are like a couple of horses going down the stretch in terms of this new standard of rushing touchdowns in a season.
Willie English is a very talented running back. He has a lot of potential. You may be looking at the man that might break Giacone's rushing record in the next couple years. As we see the play right up the middle, look at the speed he has. Excellent speed.
Well, Willie is no slouch, that's for sure. He's got 491 yards on the year coming into tonight, averaging 4.2 a carry. He's got 2 touchdowns to his credit tonight for number 10. The Knights in control, 49-0. And we're going downstairs to talk to Teddy Coltrane, one of the great wide receivers, a steady performer since arriving at UCF.
Tell you what, John, we talked about all the different pieces of leadership. Teddy Coltrane took a vicious hit throughout earlier in the season, came back to play. And when you're sitting your grandson on your knee and you're tapping him, what are you going to tell him about this season?
I'm going to say I played on one of the greatest teams to play at UCF. Because if we keep this up, I think we've got a real great chance to go to the playoffs.
You got to be real happy with playing with such a great bunch of guys, the coaches and the players you play with throughout the year.
It is. It's really great. We've had a lot of enthusiasm. We're having a great game tonight. We're going to hope to keep it on going through the playoffs. We got to get there first, though.
We're talking about peaking. Well, I think tonight's going to get you there.
I hope so. We'll find out tomorrow.
Great, Teddy. Congratulations. John, we're going to take it back upstairs once again to you and Gary in the booth.
Tom's got him rocking in the rocking chair already. I think Teddy enjoyed that, but I'd imagine he will be talking about this great team that he's a part of. 4 plays, 55 yards, a minute 20 off the clock, 32-yard scamper by Willie English, and that is his long run on the year. End over end kick, taken at the 6. Got a lane outside. That's Joe Rogers, and finally goes down. Scott Ariel, number 10, popped him out of bounds near the 30. Talk of Elgin Davis. He was one of the great runners here, obviously, as Giacone broke his record tonight. In 1986, he was a 12th round selection of the New England Patriots, and then he signed in 1989 with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a free agent. So he's one of UCF Knights in the pros. UCF basketball. Right around the corner, the Joe Dean Show premieres Tuesday, November 20th at 7 o'clock, live on CB Sports. Joe Dean entering his 2nd year as the UCF head basketball coach, and Tolliver trying to get something started. Got his man Will Moore, and a nice hit delivered by number 3, Jimmy Roberts, but a gain of 14, 1st and 10 at the 45. And Will Moore and Tolliver have something going.
Well, the difference being that the drop-back quarterback has a little bit of advantage. If you give him some protection, he can find the receivers downfield. Anytime you have to sprint, then you're limited to where you can throw the ball to. The drop-back has a chance to scan the field. He looks to his left, then he comes back, gets good protection. He finds more on a crossing pattern underneath the zone right there.
Tolliver in trouble. Going deep, and that's a catch to Curtis. Down to the 10-5, touchdown, a flag fell. Curtis Neal made that catch, 6'5", 228-pound senior, and we'll see if they're going to call offensive interference or perhaps defensive interference.
I believe they may call it on Neal for pushing off on Buckley.
It looks as though that's the case, as you can see Tolliver took a pretty good hit, and he's still suffering the effects.
Pass interference, Texas Southern.
And I believe that's a good call, because I saw Neal, the ball was up in the air, and he pushed off, and I don't blame him for being a little upset. You work, a tight end gets downfield that far, but he did push off. And we see the instant replay here. We missed it there, but he did push him down. Now they've thrown a flag on him, and he may have cost himself the game. Now he's upset. He may have been ejected from the ball game, as he threw his helmet and said a few choice words to the officials.
Curtis Neal, and now you see Walter Highsmith also barking out some comments to the officials, and everybody's got the eye goggles out to get a closer look. But Curtis Neal, a bit upset, firing the headgear down, and there's a look at Walter Highsmith in his 2nd season as the head coach here. Came into this one 4-6.
Pass interference, lost it down, Southern Illinois, Dead ball on sportsmanlike conduct on the bench. Second down.
And that's more than one unsportsmanlike penalty, Gary. That's about about a 35-yard penalty or thereabouts.
Well, there were two penalties involved. There was a loss of down on the pass offensive interference, and then he had the personal unsportsmanlike conduct, another 15 yards involved on top of that.
30 yards back, and talk about being in a hole. 2nd and 40. Pressure is on. Tolliver going deep down the sideline. Buckley, closest man to the ball. He was trying to hit number 2 Wiggins, but no chance there. It was good coverage provided by Gibson, or rather James Gore, and also Buckley came over to help out. As you look at the penalty situation, the Tigers flagged 7 times for 70 yards, the Knights 3 for 35 yards.
Well, they got to come up with some big plays. This game is what you're trying to do now is that you're going to try to play as many people as you can, but you want to look respectable. You want to call some plays that you think will work here, and not just give up the ship.
3rd and 40. The Knights in control, 49-0. Right up the middle. They catch him a little bit, but the Knights are happy to give that up, and we're going downstairs to Tom McCullion.
Thank you once again, John. Down here with another senior I think you all recognize, Perry Valasis, and you got to be happy with tonight's performance.
That's great. It's the way to end the regular season because we're going to playoffs next week.
There you go, and you're one half of what we've been calling double trouble all season. What about your partner?
Well, I'm stuck with the blocking duties, but it makes me feel just as good when Giacone gets his 100. Every yard he breaks or every record he breaks, I feel I feel a big part of it because I'm there blocking for him.
I keep hearing, I think I overhear you keep telling him how can he not get the yardage with all the holes you're making for him.
I'm doing my best. I'm trying to knock everyone down, so he's finding the holes. You can see that.
Well, great. We're going to see you next week, first round of the playoffs.
Definitely.
Great.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Texas Southern, 4th down.
No, I don't.
And right now, Texas Southern a bit out of control, I guess you might say. They're frustrated, down 49-0, and they're letting their emotions dictate, and it's not a positive way to let your emotions dictate right now. You want it to be emotional, but not when it hurts you like this.
Well, it's getting a little ugly out there because there's some cheap shots being thrown and some words being said, and it's just a sign of frustration on one team because they're getting whipped pretty soundly, 49-0.
Well, Curtis Neal is back at his 1, and Sean Beckton is licking his chops at the Tiger 49 awaiting the punt. Good punt by Neal, sends Beckton back about 7 yards, now about 10 yards, and Sean will run it out. Good stutter step. Midfield, down the lane to the 40, down to the 30, one man to beat at the 20. Beckton is gone. Holy cow, if he is not showcasing his skills tonight in front of these scouts, I don't know what he's doing. He's done just about everything tonight. He hasn't had a night like this where he's just done it all that I can remember.
Well, there's not many other ways that you can score offensively is by throwing a touchdown, running a touchdown, catching a touchdown, and doing a return on a touchdown. So, hey, he may be setting all kinds of records here. Like Gene McDowell said, a lot of firsts out here. That may be the first time that's happened in UCF history.
Well, I'll tell you something. Beckton probably hasn't enjoyed many days like this on the playground. He's just done it all. Pretty soon he'll kick a few through. Put Franco down on the bench there to enjoy this one. Grilla out of the hold of Ron Johnson. 55-0. UCF high snap. Doesn't matter on a night like tonight. UCF going to click. They lead at 56-0. And I know that guy. What a backhand that McCullion's got. There's McCullion. He's got the hat. Look at the style. Now he goes with a pump fake and goes underneath. That was a good move. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more UCF football right after this. Night of the Knights, that's for sure. And the last time a punt was returned for a touchdown by a UCF ball player was Gilbert Barnes versus Morningside on November 11th, 1987. That was a 32-yard scamper. Beckton took that one back about 60 yards, and he had to put quite a move on early because there was a fella coming down, and the fella forgot to break down, and Beckton was gone.
He's a great athlete, and he's just showcasing his talent. The more you can do, the higher the chance of being drafted in the NFL. And that's one of his objectives and his goals. He'd love to play in the NFL.
a lot of time left. 7:38 left in the third quarter. The Knights up 56-0. That's Rogers with it. Late flag again. A lot of pushing and shoving going on down there. Walter Gibson was down there for UCF, and I think there's a Knights player down on the far side as well. Jefferson is over there. There's a bit of a skirmish, and you want to get away from there.
Well, I saw 3 or 4 flags going over there, and I was always taught that I always checked up and looked up when I was involved, make sure I was on the right sideline. And if you're black shirts over there, you're on the wrong sideline.
Steve Wright, number 38, was the fellow that actually made the contact, and then Gibson came in, and perhaps it may have been a little bit late.
A little bit. Looked like he hit one of his own players, though. That's what gets me there. You don't throw a flag for hitting your own player too hard.
Dead ball, personal foul, Central Florida, first down.
Gary, if you're refereeing this one, you probably want to get together and say, hey, let's keep this thing under wraps here and not let it get out of control.
Well, Mr. Rubion, the referee there,
dead ball, personal foul, Central Florida, first down.
He's got his work cut out for it now, because now it's 7 minutes 32 seconds left in the third quarter. So he and his staff have really got to take things under control, and they got to start throwing the flag.
First down and 10 at the 39 for Tolliver and company. He's on a roll. Underneath, nobody there. He was trying to hit number 13, Curtis Lee. Only one hopped it to him. Second and 10.
Good pressure that time by Robert Lindsay and Willie Britton and Bob Knott. What's Knott come right up the middle there. Now, Bob Knott actually puts the pressure that makes him throw the ball short that time. And he's having a will of a ball game.
To look at the options available as a UCF Knight Boosters. For more information, call 823-2086. University of Central Florida Knights Boosters. Second and 10 for Tolliver. The Knights showing blitz, a lot of activity, and number 13, Curtis Neal, moved, and I think they may get the offense with motion.
Well, now, Neal jumped the plane. Now, you break the plane like that. The defense can get, now, Bob can get back. He can get back, but what happened was that Neal broke
dead ball, false start, offense.
Well, in case you're wondering, the last shutout came on the 29th of September versus Kentucky State. UCF won that one 49-0. So this is the biggest margin of victory this year. Let's go downstairs where Tom McCullion is standing by.
Thank you very much. I'm down here at Big John Osborne. I tell you what, we're asking everybody about what their big memory is, but I think I can guess what yours is. Out of the last 4 or 5 years you've been here, what's your big memory?
Well, I really don't have my own personal big memory. Diacon is the only person that comes to mind when I think about personal memories of blocking sweep play that got him his last yard, got him his final yardage that made him win over the record. My own personal thing, probably my first catch was against EKU back in '87. I did a bend-in route across the middle. As soon as I caught the ball, the guy hit me. I fumbled the ball up in the air, and Perry Valacious carries it for 11 yards, but they gave me the catch.
Very good. Well, the one I was thinking is just a couple weeks ago, and it's a little flutter catch from, I think, Perry Valacious again, and you took it in for your touchdown.
Yeah, that was a great memory. The only thing about that is when I score my first touchdown, all I want to do is score more. So it's really, it really gets on my nerves a little bit. But that's a big memory, but I like to think about other people a lot more.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's what signifies this team is the unselfishness, and that team comes first, and that shows because you guys are heading to the playoffs. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to see the instant replay here. Now, Tolliver hits his running back. Henderson out of the backfield right there. There's Kerry Henderson down the sideline. It's just a little pass out of the backfield. Everybody else is covered there. Shane Law tries to make the tackle there, misses, and Buckley saves it from being a touchdown.
First and 10 from the 25. Tolliver back to pass. Got pressure from Bob Knott and company. Now flips it. Incomplete. Ariel with good position, as did Walter Gibson. They were trying to hit 87. Will Moore. Second down and 10.
Well, Knott put a lot of pressure right up the middle. This big, tall, lanky quarterback, if he can't step forward, he's been stepping back. Now you see right here, look at him, he's falling back, and that's what point I was going to make. Every time he falls back, he's been short. Every time he's been able to step forward, he's put it right on the money.
As the numbers on Henderson, Jackson is right next to him, split behind Tolliver. 2nd and 10. Floats it again, good coverage. Ariel was over there, as was Gibson. Will Moore, the intended receiver. Moore wanted a call, and he didn't get it. 3rd down and 10 now for the Tigers of Texas Southern. 6:13 to go in the 3rd quarter. They've got the football on the UCF 25-yard line, and this may have been their biggest penetration. And UCF head coach Gene McDowell doesn't want to give up any scores here. UCF athletic teams, football, baseball, volleyball, complete athletic program at UCF. Women's sports, golf, tennis, cross country. You ought to get involved in the UCF athletic program. Best show in town, and a best hit in town delivered there by number 43, Stewart, and he hit Henderson, number 44.
Well, Phil Stewart reads this one real well. This is a draw play set up with all the passes they've been throwing, and Phil Stewart does a great job. Now watch him right here. He smells it out and comes flying across from his linebacker position. Now the 2 inside linebackers are designed to go from tackle to tackle. That's their job. They're the key there, then to scrape outside to help out. That time he does a good job of staying inside tackle to tackle.
Lost one on that. It's 4th down and 11. They're in 4-down territory now with this score out of hand as it is. Looks like they may be trying to set a screen up. Tolliver running for his life, a lot of pressure, firing, and it's a one-hop to Will Moore. Covering was raw, incomplete. UCF has the football.
Well, credit that to the defensive line that time. They did a good job of forcing the quarterback out of his protection, out of pocket, scrambling. He never was able to get under control because he had somebody nipping right at his heels and never allowed him to plant and throw the ball. We see it right here. He's never under control. Look at him scrambling right there. All right, now he's still moving. Never has a chance. He's throwing off the back of his heels. Look how short the pass is as it comes up just short.
Ron Johnson takes his troops out on 1st and 10 from his 26-yard line. Beckton and Jefferson are the wide receivers. Ron Thal and Pat Stewart are the running backs, and Ron Johnson scrambling for just a pickup of about 1 before he is met by number 75, Michael Strahan.
Them big offensive linemen, Tom Leahy and Derek Connor. Now that was one of those screen passes again. It was set up. Now he faked, but the linemen are out there. They're saying, now wait a minute, Ron, if I'm going to run all the way out there, try to throw the ball out there to help me out here.
Pat Stewart, 18 carries for a 5.0 average, has scored 3 TDs, and Ron Thal, limited action this year as a result of a knee injury, but he's been steady when he's gotten a chance to play. This is Stewart, Thal leading the way. Stewart cuts it in, and pretty good gain of about 8 to near the 35-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and call it a long 2.
Pat Stewart is a Canadian, and he's from the Hamilton area of Ontario, Canada. He's got a lot of speed, a lot of talent. Once he gets the handle here, now look at his acceleration. He's got what the coaches call that natural running ability.
Got a pretty good spot. Call it 3rd and 1. Jefferson is at the top of your screen. Beckton is split left. Pat Stewart has the 1st down and more, slicing to about the 46-yard line. He fumbled it, and I think they're going to say he was already down, and they do. Making the hit was number 42 for this team. Came up nicely, John Rowe. Popped him good. 1st and 10, and moving the change once again. 3:51 left in the 3rd quarter, Gary. As we look at UCF athletic clubs, men's water ski, women's water ski club, men's crew and women's crew. And then you've got both men's and women's track and field. So a lot of activity out at UCF, and if you haven't been out there to enjoy it, give it a try. It's a good show. Right at the line of scrimmage, they're lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage on that play. They just hit Beckton at the line, and nothing going there. Making the play, Reggie Stubblefield, number 10.
Well, Stubblefield, what he did is he smelled this one out. They've gone through well just one too many times here. As Reggie smelled it out, as Sean Beckton makes the reception there, is that's been a play that they've run about a half dozen times now, and maybe they possibly set it up with a stop and go.
Well, Beckton came in with 194 grabs. That was number 200, and that was one of his personal goals this this season to close on 200, and he's just done it. Pat Stewart gets right to the midfield mark before he is knocked down and spun around right there by Hermie Thomas, number 40.
Pat Stewart getting a chance to play, and this gives him, the coaches, a chance to look at Pat. Pat said, you know, he's a talented athlete. He's a redshirt freshman, and the coaches are getting an opportunity. They know what Willie English can do. They've seen what Mark Giacone do. Now they got to have somebody back up Willie English, and a guy like Pat Stewart is the guy that they'd like to see do.
3rd down and 6. Johnson the throw. Underneath the foul, near the marker, he's short by 1. Good defensive play down there by number 16, Donald Randall, and this crowd is already saying, let's go for it. Last 3 games, UCF has been powerful in the second half, 41-14. So they have been like a good fighter, turning it on in the championship rounds. That's when it counts.
As we see Ron Johnson drop straight back. Now, he looked downfield first, but then he's found Ron Thal right out in the sideline that time. That's the play that Montrell Green's caught a couple passes tonight on, and DeLacy's has caught a couple also on.
4th down and 1, and the Knights will go for it. There's movement down there. I think Ron Johnson drew him offside, so they'll get a face-on balls there, and it's 1st and 10.
Dead ball, offside, Texas Southern, 5 yards, 1st down.
Longtime member of the UCF staff, Neil Labar, has just walked into the booth. It's good to see Neil.
Now
Been
watch
around a long time.
Ron Johnson barks right there. He barked and kind of have a good adjustment there in his bark and his signals, and drew the defensive line offside. Ron Johnson made that one happen.
It's got to be nice when you've been part of this program for so long as Neil has, to sit back and watch it flourish on a night like tonight and look for playoffs on the 1AA level. I remember when it used to be a celebration just to play a team close. Let's go downstairs where Tom McCullion is standing by.
I tell you what, I'm going to go after that record. Gary said I can't get all 17 or 19. I'm going to get them all, and I'm down here with Bill Stewart. And I tell you what, you got to be happy tonight with the rest of them. And what's your big memory of playing here in this big stadium?
The big memory, when we played Troy State, we had, I think, around 31,000 in here. And they couldn't hear nothing, and they kept calling the stops and stuff. But, you know, and they kept getting penalties for delaying and everything. But I wish the crowd would come back here. It's all right tonight, but this year, if we get in the playoffs and do good, that'll be the memory. That's what I've been going for. When we went to the playoffs before, the feeling there was just, it was so great, you know, coming in the playoffs and getting to win a game and everything. And that's the biggest thing is the playoffs.
That's what McDowell said, and I tell you what, McDowell challenged now. Big Bill Stewart says, come on out here next week for the playoffs. Take it back upstairs to you, John.
Bill Stewart, a strong safety a few years ago, and then he had a big spring. They moved him to linebacker, and boy, he's been a solid football player.
Now watch Pat Stewart here. Now you can see the athletic ability of Pat Stewart. He shifts the ball to the outside. Good strides, good read, way to follow his blocks.
Well, that ends the 3rd quarter. The Knights in control, 56-0. And you look at Pat Stewart, the man from Canada that has got the speed. He runs back kickoff for UCF from time to time. 3 touchdowns from the backfield this year. And he's one of those backs of the future. You talked about Willie English could come in and fill the shoes with guys like Giacone. As we look at the Kumquat Bowl here on CB Sports, we'll bring that to you November 22nd at 11:30 a.m. Daytona Mainland versus Winter Park. Just another opportunity to enjoy high school football on CB Sports. We're happy to have you with us. And there's a guy that might be enjoying himself tonight. I'm not sure.
Well, you know that he smiles. You know, every time I see Neil around here, he's always got a big smile. The guy's the most hostile person I've ever met at UCF, and it's always a pleasure to see him around me.
But that wasn't Neil on the
No, that wasn't Neil. Neil was the guy we were talking about a little bit earlier. But he's always got a big smile.
And that's Paul Lounsbury, the assistant head coach and offensive line coach for UCF. He's got to be happy on 3rd and 4. There's a miscue, one of the few for UCF on the night. Ron Johnson did what he had to do, just fell on the ball. They'll lose about 4 on that sequence. Bring up a 4th down situation for the Knights. 4th down and about 8.
Well, this is a play action of Pat Stewart. Now, somebody either ran the route a little bit too tight. Either the quarterback got into Stewart's routes too tight, or Stewart got into the quarterback's route too tight. and the ball was a fumble there.
And they'll punt. Salerno punting for the first time on the night, averaging 34.1 every time he boots it. He's booted it 43 times in 1990, long on the year 49. Lamar Brown is back to receive it. He'll just signal for a fair catch as a decoy, and this one will be a touchback. First and 10 at the 20 for Texas Southern.
It's always good to have to at least punt one time in a ball game, even though Gene McDowell would rather not to have it. As a punter, you like to at least be out there so everybody gets to know who you are. And so Russell Leonard, that's his first time he's punted tonight.
Well, in case you're wondering, the most points scored by a UCF team is 67. That was back on October 31st, 1987. Right now, the Knights are threatening. They've got 14-10 left, and they've scored 56. So 2 more touchdowns, and they'll set another record here in 1990. There's a look at Dickinson, who got his bell rung last week and has to sit out. But he was the third number 3 in receiving for UCF this year, enjoying a great year and several punt returns as well. Boy, he's had a tough season. There's a look at the third quarter rundown, Gary. No surprise there. This time the time of possession, though, indicative of the score. UCF with some methodical drives as opposed to the quick hits, and they struck so fast in the first half. Tolliver back. Has pressure underneath the Henderson at about the 38. He's short of the first down. Good defense down there by UCF. Gibson and Hamilton along with Vic Taylor, number 49 over there.
Well, Kerry Henderson's one ball player that's not going to quit. On the play before, he picked up the first down on a sweep pass, on a sweep play. Now this time, Tolliver's off straight back. He's looking downfield, trying to go deep. Got a good job by defensive backs. Now he hits his underneath man, Kerry Henderson.
Tolliver again underneath. He's got himself a first down. Does Curtis Neal, the tight end, just a little button hook and has found the mark, and a flag falls. We're going downstairs to Tom McCollum.
Tell you what, we're down here at Big Robert Lee Conner. Robert, you're just telling me about happy hour with tonight with all the coaches and the friends here.
Yeah, it's been great. It's not no one moment I can pick out, you know, the exclude from everything else. You know, just being out here on UCF playing.
Dead ball!
Close to the foul! Watching play has been great. And that's all I have to say.
And you're ready to go back in their play. Here they're going to put you in one more series.
Right, one more series.
All right, we're looking for that TD. All right, John, we'll take it back upstairs. We're going to see the ball get out there to Robert Lee Conner one more time.
And they're going to catch UCF with another flag. Well, Tom knows how to make friends with those guys. He talks about them scoring TDs, and that makes everybody your buddy.
Well, Robert Lee Conner was a defensive lineman that came in from junior college who had a lot of people had high hopes for. Didn't fit in as well, so he moved him to tight end, and he's a good blocking tight end.
Henderson scampering right side. The whole sandwich is closed in a hurry. Just slam shot. Number 11, Buckley, along with Wisniewski and Hamilton, number 42, coming up from the file. But we talked about Mike Dickinson a little earlier. Last week got hurt, has to sit out today. But aside from being number 3 in receptions on the season for UCF, Dickinson had 21 grabs for a 9.8 average. He had returned 32 punts, and that means he took some pretty good hits all season long. It's a shame he has to miss the last one, but we're just happy to see he's healthy. And there's movement down on the line, and Tolliver has to revamp things once again. We're going downstairs to Tom McCollum.
I tell you what, if it's anybody's night tonight, and if it's anybody's season, and if it's been anybody's senior of all 4 or 5 years, it's got to be yours, Mark. And there's got to be a lot of people you need to thank.
I'd say, well, one thing I got to thank my offensive line. Perry's done a great job blocking Ozzie. Just all the guys. I mean, the offense has been unbelievable. Fan support. Most of all, I want to thank, they're not here tonight, I want to say this, but in the handicap section, Bob and the guys, the G-Cone Goombas, and I kind of dedicated this game to them. They've been real supportive of me.
They got to be real happy. And Elton Davis for giving you something to shoot at, right?
Oh, yeah, that was, like I said, Elton's been an idol of mine for 4 years, and to break his record, this dream come true.
That's great. Mark, congratulations once again. John, back upstairs to you.
Rick Hamilton wrestles down Jackson, trying to scamper right. Take another look.
We see Timmy Jackson breaking out to the right. Now look at Hamilton does a good job. He's scraping right off the end position there. When the defensive end comes upfield, he's scraping and does a good job of making the tackle.
Tolliver dumps it to Jackson down to the 20. Being chased by Roberts and knocked out of bounds at the 9 by number 3, Jimmy Roberts. Several scouts in attendance tonight, and one of the guys they're looking at is number 3.
And Jimmy Roberts. And now on this play, Jackson does a good job of catching the pass in the sideline and getting downfield. And Jimmy Roberts, who has a lot of speed, does a good job of getting over and making tackle. Now Jackson just floats out, and then Jimmy Roberts does a good job of running them down, and he actually grabs Jimmy Roberts' face mask and drags Jimmy Roberts to the ground.
Well, right now, Texas Southern trying to avoid a shutout. Tolliver hands off. And Henderson is hit hard by Wisniewski along with number 13, Gibson. But they started football at Texas Southern back in 1946. And in 1952, they had a undefeated team at 10-0-1. As you'll see, Henderson take quite a hit here.
Watch Gibson come up right there, does a good job along with Shane Law. They do a good job. Lee Wisniewski was on the bottom of that pile.
Second down and 6. They'll hand off again, and they got hit with a tidal wave. Nowhere to go. Jackson carrying, and Wisniewski, that was number 7 carrying Calvin Wilson at 5'3", 145 pounds. He took a hit from Wisniewski and company. No introduction necessary.
Well, they're going to eject the football player here. As you see him right there, he's a big man walking off the field right there, and that is Sheldon Allen, one of the premier offensive linemen, has been ejected for this ball game as he and Bob Knott tied up a little bit. And but what a great hit though on the other side.
Personal foul. Texas Southern ejection.
Now, this has got to happen in the ball game. What the officials are doing now, hey, they're not going to allow this to become a big brawl. And I compliment them for that, John, because there's still 10 minutes left in this ball game. There's a lot of ball that needs to be played here. And these guys are in charge, and then pretty soon what they'll do, they'll call timeout, and they'll go to the coaches and say, hey, look, I'll start penalizing the coaches if you don't do a better job of controlling your ball players.
Well, it's been a long night for Walter Highsmith and his staff. He is going to go to 4-7, so they improved just a bit from last year's 3-7-1 mark in '89. Tolliver, a lot of pressure once again, steps up, and Bob Knott throws him to the ground. And look at Robert Lindsay showing emotion down. And this defense has just been as stingy as can be.
Bob Knott is a competitor. You know, Lee Wisniewski, we watched Bob Knott make this sack right here. Does a good job. These guys aren't very big. There comes Lee in to help, along with Scott Averill. They do a good job, but they're quick, and that's been their big asset. As we see Deke Pollard, the defensive coordinator, he's got to be happy with what he's seeing out there right now.
Tonight's getting a beverage break down there with 10:03 to go and charged 56-0.
Your attention, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be an exciting poolside party at the
Well, UCF basketball right around the corner. We want to
best of luck this year. I think he's going to really do a good job with that program, and I think he'll turn it around, and I think you'll see some exciting basketball here in Orlando, not just with the Magic, but right here at UCF.
Well, you can see Division I basketball at a very reasonable price, that's for sure. Get out there, get a good seat in the new arena, and enjoy the fast-paced action of the UCF Knights. And there's a fast-paced defensive tackle coming down on somebody. Bob Knott chasing Tolliver. Now Tolliver loops it. Buckley's there, and I think they got a touchdown. Oh, a ricochet play coming up with the ball is number 87, Will Moore, but it was 13, Curtis Neal, that had it until he took a lick, and it bounced right into the hands of Will Moore. And that's why he's got 8 touchdowns. He knows where the football is.
Well, look at Buckley and look at he's just sitting there going, I can't believe that happened. I hit that guy pretty hard. Now you see Bob Knott right there. Just in the NFL, that might have been in the grass, but not in college. Bob gets up, and here's what Tolliver does good. A good strong arm, throws the ball downfield. That ball is almost intercepted. Buckley hits him, Shane Law hits him, but there's Will Moore makes the reception. Good concentration on Moore's part.
And he was going to the football. Instead of having the best seat in the house, he was still playing the game even though the ball wasn't thrown to him, and all of a sudden he was in the end zone. They go for 2. Tolliver down the line, looking, now dumps it to Henderson. Nowhere to go. Hamilton was there, along with some help from his buddies. 49 and Vic Taylor, good coverage, nobody fooled. It's 56-6. You're watching TV's community cable channel, Channel 32. We'll be back with more UCF football right after this. 56-0, UCF in control. Let's go down to another guy who's in control, Tom McCullum.
Well, I guess I'm as in control as I always can be, John. I tell you what, if you've been coming out to the stadium, you know they've been running raffles all season long at every home game, culminate in tonight where they gave away a brand new car. Now, it's exciting watching it on TV, but it's great to be here, especially for Mike Fox, and you had the winning ticket.
Yes, I did.
And the grand prize was a car. Do you know what kind of car you're going to get?
No, I have to go down to the Ford dealerships and pick it out.
Pick out any car you want.
Well, they have a price limit on it, but I'm not sure. They want me to look around.
All right, now I think that's going to be an exciting day. And hearing all the people around, they're giving you a lot of advice, and they're saying, maybe you don't need a car, maybe I do.
Yeah, well, yeah. Everybody I talked to said, are you sure you don't want to give me the ticket or something like that?
There you go. Candy Apple Red, just remember the girls like it. John, we're going to take it back upstairs to you.
Hey, Tom, how do you know what the girls like? That's what everybody is wondering now. And secondly, I want you to check that guy's license, will you? I don't want him driving out of here illegally. That's great. Somebody wins the car. He's a happy young man. Willie English to about the 37-yard line before he is tumbled by number 75, Michael Strahan, 6'5", 253-pounder. And Rudy Jones checks in. You see his numbers. So Rudy out of the bullpen, but Ron Johnson, mission accomplished.
Did a fantastic job, had a game plan that you couldn't draw any better than that. As we see Willie now, Montrell Green helping out right there, Robert Lee Connor, and Willie picks up a few hard-earned yards.
That whole offensive line now has been swapped. Gordon King is the center. Matt LePayne and Britt Williams are the guards, and Swift and Schoen are the tackles. So UCF is going to some substitutes, get them some work at this time. And boy, you say substitutes, but every one of these guys could start on a lot of teams, and many of them have come in and really contributed this year. Good offensive depth on the UCF offensive line for Paul Lounsbury and company. Those guys can get it done.
You know what amazes me so far this game is Tom McCullum is really, I think he's going to get everybody and maybe half the people in the stands too. He's doing a great job down there.
10 plays, 80 yards. You saw the scoring drive for the Tigers. Rudy Jones will flip it to Willie. To the 46-yard line. He dives forward, and credited with the tackle will be number 42. Just dove at him. John Roll. And there's a look at Willie.
Well, it's the bread and butter play for UCF offense. It's just a toss to the right and a toss to the left, whatever side you choose. You always got your lead back in there. Montrell Green or Perry Belaces. You got your tight ends, and you got that offensive line doing a good job.
Teddy Coltrane is checked in along with Cooper. Montrell Green and Pat Stewart are the running backs. Stewart is the tailback in the scheme for Rudy Jones. It's Montrell Green and a quick hitter. He falls forward for about 4 before Keith Anderson, number 45, just rides him down. And this is really a credit to that offensive line in there now, because there is still plenty of room for these running backs to move.
Well, if Tom McCullum was to interview Gene McDowell right now and ask him how he felt, he'd probably say it doesn't take a genius to realize that how good it feels to be winning. But Gene probably come back and say, I'm real happy with the graduation rate here at UCF. Something of that nature, that you never know what the man's going to say.
Cooper and Coltrane are left, and this will be Pat Stewart. Good run for Stewart. He picks up a first down for the Knights right at the chain before Keith Anderson knocks him down along with a little help. But there's the total offense, 507 yards for UCF.
And the reason I brought up that graduation rate graduate. I'll try to get that out here in a minute. But was that Gene McDowell's real proud of the high number of people that graduate from his program, and that number one in the state of Florida. And he was talking about it before the game a little bit, and that's something he was telling some of the recruits out there on the field.
1st and 10 at the 44 for the Knights. Pat Stewart on a toss, left side. Bounces in, and again, number 45, Keith Patterson, 6'2", 245-pound sophomore from Miami, was pursuing nicely.
John, that 500-some-odd yards, I bet you're looking it up and trying to find out if that may be what the all-time high is at UCF. And before it's over, we may be closing in on it.
Well, back on October 17th, Gary, 1987, UCF gained 700 yards versus West Georgia, so they are closing in on the mark. 5:49. 2nd down and 7 for Rudy Jones. Pat Stewart again. Slicing right. Another good gain for Pat Stewart. Has a 1st down. Stewart really looking to pick his spots down there. It looks nice. Michael Strahan dragged him down. Strahan with 33 tackles coming in. Lassoed Stewart.
Well, Pat Stewart's more of a slasher. He likes to take, as we'll watch right here. Now watch him. He'll slash and move left, right, and whereas Mark Giacone, there you go, slashes that way, goes back the other way. Well, Mark Giacone is the kind of guy that has got good quickness, but he also got real strong legs and good, strong upper body. He'll run over you.
1st and 10 from the 31. Chad Payne and Teddy Coltrane are the wide receivers at the top of your screen, and they'll come the other way to Stewart again. Bounces forward to the 27-yard line, and good pursuit down there by a whole host of Tiger tacklers. Number 75, Strahan, was right in the thick of it.
We see that bread and butter play again as Pat Stewart takes the toss to the right, picks up a couple hard earned yards. And Pat gets a break. Now he's on the sideline, and Willie English is in again.
Ron Fowle and Willie English, and a staggered eye behind Rudy Jones. The wide receivers, Chad Payne and Teddy Coltrane. The tight end is Robert Lee Connor. Willie English, 2nd effort, falls forward for a nice gain to the 21-yard line. Making the tackle was number 26, James Williams. Gary, we're talking about the playoffs, and aside from your win-loss record, there are some secondary factors as well.
Well, one of the things is we'll finish the season 8-3, which will put us in a playoff. One of the things that will bring it to Central Florida is that 22,000 students, we're averaging close to 15,000 people a game, and we play in a beautiful stadium. Those are some factors that will help bring that game to Orlando.
Willie English on 3rd and 1 has the 1st down and more to the 15, to the 10, slicing to the 5 before he's finally dragged down there. Willie is a load, and when he starts picking up some steam, you better stop him in a hurry. Reggie Stubblefield, number 10, had the right idea. He grabbed him low, and finally Willie went down. 1st and goal, UCF.
Willie English was a prize catch out of Avon Park High School. We see Willie out of the I formation, just a straight dive play right off the left tackle. He does everything on his own once he gets outside. A lot of big colleges were looking at Willie, and it was a big catch for UCF to get him right out of high school.
There's a look at the 1st down rundown, 31-16 for the Knights, so they're almost double in 1st down production. And you're watching CB's Community Cable Channel, Channel 32, with UCF in control, 56-6. We're going to take a short break. CAA 1AA action, Sweet 16 selection will be done tomorrow or announced tomorrow at 3 p.m. and we'll have it for you live on CB32. So jump on aboard the Grapevine and make your playoff plans, and let's hope you'll be at the Citrus Bowl next Saturday cheering on UCF. They're sure to finish 8-3, which is 3:09 to go, in control 56-6, and that should be enough to get them in. Willie English trying to get in. We're going downstairs where Tom McCullion is walking the night booth.
Thank you very much for kicking another one off with Eric Jones down here. And you're just telling me, of course, tonight's one of the great nights going back to your first season back in '88.
Oh, yeah. This season's been really good for us. The defense coming around real good, offense is coming around real good. We're still getting better, and I'm really looking forward to the playoffs. And I'm sure, like as the rest of the guys are.
We're talking now. Do you think you're peaking at this point, or do you have a long way to go? Do you think you can still?
We're peaking, but we still got a little ways to go. We can get better.
There's a little bit more. I just hate to think what you can do to another opponent if you get much better than tonight.
We still get better.
Oh, great. Looking forward to the playoffs. All righty. John, take it back upstairs to you. And Gary, I'm going to get them all.
You can see an injured Tiger on the field. We haven't been able to get a number for you just yet. But you look at a guy like Eric Jones, came from Gainesville as a fullback. And talking to Alan Gooch, the running back coach, told me that Eric Jones could play fullback. But he is a good enough athlete to move over to the defensive side of the ball and has really contributed. And it's number 90 that went down, Raymond Hubbard, 6'3", 286-pound junior, and he is getting up on it, as you can see, walking off on his own power, so that is good news.
Some of the other factors that we were talking about earlier was those key games, and Idaho defeated Boise, who was ranked number 4, and that was a key factor, and Furman defeated the Citadel. Also, there was another key factor of games that were being played tonight, so that's going to enhance UCF chances even that much more.
Second and goal from the 3 for Rudy Jones and company. Ron Fowle and Willie English are the running backs with a steamroller formation in. Unbalanced line right for Rudy to work with. This is Willie for touchdown number 11. When you got Willie English carrying the ball, you can go out on the limb occasionally. Thank you, Willie. 2:27 left in the football game, and it's 62-6.
Well, it's been a tough day for the Tigers in this stadium, as my old alma mater, FSU, beat up on the Memphis State Tigers, and now UCF is beating up on the Texas Southern Tigers.
Been a stampede. They let the Bulls out, and they haven't been able to get them corralled. These guys aren't going to stop running around till they're through, and Grilla probably got a sore foot by now. That's another extra point for him. That's the 9th touchdown. Well, 63-6. Holy mackerel. We're going downstairs where Tom McCullion is standing by.
I tell you what, there's so many records being broke tonight here, John. We have Bob Nod, who got the 31st sack of the season.
Well, the whole defense pitched in the whole year, and in '87 they had 30 sacks, and the whole year we've been fighting to get the record, and they've been really driving us to get it, and finally got it, 31.
And once again, working as a team, I tell you what, going in for sack, it is a defense. You got to tie up that whole offensive line, but allow someone like you to break through and get a hold of that quarterback.
Yeah, everyone played their part, and we just really wanted to get to this goal by the end of the year, and everyone pitched in, did their part to get it.
That's great. Like I said, we've been focused on the seniors. We want to say there's a lot of players coming up and going to fill in those slots next year and years to come.
Yeah, we have some good players. We should be set for the next few years.
All right, congratulations, Bob. 31 on the season, John. That's another record.
Well, Bob Knott, one of the real success stories when you talk about developing young talent. Last season, Bob Knott had a total of 7 tackles. Bob Knott came into tonight's action with a bit higher figure, 51 tackles and 3 sacks, and that's what it's all about, building programs. And Bob Knott is as good an example as you're going to find anywhere. Ground ball, second baseman can't handle it, error. Runner goes to first. They'll take it on the 20, first and 10. And we're going down once again where King McCullion is standing by.
Knocking it down, of course, we had Tom earlier, and we finally got Craig Marston over here, and you got to be real happy.
I'm very happy. I never expected any kind of blowout like this. They looked really good on film, and we still respect their team, but we just took it to them tonight.
You guys have given him a lot of heckling this week because he's getting an awful lot of press.
Well, Craig is a great player. He's a potential All-American. He's been a 4-year starter with hardly anybody in this team. Only Andrew Bishop has even come close to starting as many games as Craig has. He's helped all of us who have come in after him to get a lot better. And you know, if we didn't have Craig in the middle that knows all the plays as well as he does, we wouldn't be able to run all over teams like we have tonight, you know. I have to say, if I didn't have guards like Tommy and Andrew, it would be very hard to do my job as well.
He's got all the plays. He's the one that draws them in the sand out there on the field for you, right?
Yeah, he does. He makes all the calls. I'll tell you what, you have to read the defense as much as the quarterback does.
If you guys wanted to thank one individual tonight, who do you think it'd be?
I just thank Coach Lounsbury for giving me the opportunity to play. I walked on here, and nobody gave me much of a chance to play, and I've started here almost 3 years, and I just thank, Coach Lounsbury for giving me the chance to play.
Greg?
I'd like to thank my mom, because she made all this possible. One more person. I'd really like to thank my dad. He's been great to me. Number one.
There you go. Ringing in the family, I tell you what. I think we got maybe 5, 6 more, Gary. You're going to lose your money.
Good story there, Lively and Craig Marsden. And boy, it's been that kind of night. Been that kind of night for Texas Southern. A couple of assistant coaches went down as Henderson went right side, got bounced out of bounds.
Well, it's good to get a chance for the seniors to express themselves as we see the play here being run by as Henderson takes the ball to the outside. But it's a great opportunity for our fans to get to see these guys and get to see them, and I hope we get them all in, Tom.
And Henderson is still down. He took a pretty vicious hit over there on the sidelines. And we're going downstairs where Tom is standing by with still another senior.
Seem to come out of the woodwork here. We're finding, and Andrew Bishop just had a good word in there. You got to be happy tonight.
I'm very happy with Giacone's record, Beckton's record. I'm very happy with the whole performance of the offense.
I tell you what, it's probably more my fault, and I'll take that responsibility, but we don't get into the trenches, and we haven't gotten in trenches this season. It's really good to get the guys that are doing the work to make these show-offs get all the good press.
I love digging it in the trenches. I love steamroller. Run blocking is everything for us in the offensive line. That's our livelihood.
And you're ready to have your opportunity to get the limelight. Maybe we'll see that next week.
Yeah, very much so. We're going to go out and hopefully we'll get in the playoffs, and we're going to try and run the ball again. I think the offensive line as a whole they really take pride in running the football.
There you go. And it's a whole team effort out there, and you guys are just blowing them off the line.
Yeah, the defense is doing a great job.
There you go. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the night.
Tom spending his share of time with the regulators tonight, the guys that control and direct what's going on down there, and they are the running game as well as that offensive line. Andrew Bishop, quite an athlete in high school. He lettered in football, track, and he was a wrestler as well. And we've got a fellow still down, and it's number 44, Henderson. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll find out a little bit. And Tom McCullion here at the Citrus Bowl. And it looks as though Kerry Henderson is up, so that's good news. He took a pop on the sideline and was down for a while. He got up on his own power. Hopefully he was just shaken up. 1st and 10, 2:19 to go. The Knights leading at 63-6. Sheminsky, the quarterback now. Sheminsky-Payton. And another big hit delivered. Sheminsky-Payton taking things into his own hands here. He's trying to get something going, and we're going down to the sideline with Tom McCullion once again.
We're down here at the Alex Karras, I guess, award winner tonight for getting into the trenches and getting your head beat up here. Alex, go for it.
What do you want me to say? I mean, we just came out. We really want to go to the playoffs, and we knew that we could mash the football because they're a blitzing team, and we caught them tonight. So hopefully everything will go right, and we'll be in the playoffs the following week.
And in the locker room, Coach said you wanted to go head-to-head with these guys, and you took them literally.
Yeah. We want to run the football tonight and prove, that we can run the football against bigger, larger players than we are.
Congratulations to you, John. Take it back upstairs to the action.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
I like his choice of words. Now I know why they call him the masher. We're talking to him a few seconds, and he starts talking about mashing the football.
Well, he doesn't really want to talk. He wants to play football. What do you want me to say? He says, I've got an ugly face here with a big old cut on it and everything. That's part of football. You got to like a guy like Alex Goforth.
He's doing quite a job of that strong tackle position, and they missed trying to go deep down there. UCF with some good coverage, and looks like they were trying to hit number 82 on that route and couldn't get him.
Alex Goforth, big guy. Not many words he wants to say, just wants to play football. And that offensive line, I mean, when you rush and set the record for rushing, that means you've got to have a lot of guys doing the good things out there, and you got to have everybody's got to play. In other words, there hasn't been that many injuries.
Tracy Lewis at wide receiver, number 82, and there's Pike going after somebody. Vic Taylor may have gotten a face mask. Finally, the quarterback, Peyton, goes down, and we're going downstairs where Tom is standing by.
I have Brian Sargent down here. We were talking to him earlier this season about being called up for his one-day for a medical checkup, maybe to be called up. And you got to be a lot more happier here having the fun than being over in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, definitely. I'm a lot more happier here. Funny thing about it was that I was supposed to take my physical, and the Army hospital here in town got activated. So I ended up not having to take my physical after all. So I was real lucky in that.
There you go, and we hope to have you here for the playoffs, right?
Definitely, definitely.
There you go, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Highest game, 67-3 versus Grand Valley State. And the Gatorade, and did they get Coach McDowell? Holy cow, I hope he blames you for that. The crowd enjoys that. Boy, those guys are a courageous bunch down there. Well, he liked it.
Yeah,
he liked it.
Gene's happy with this performance tonight.
Well, I wouldn't want to put the Gatorade on him if he wasn't, would you?
No.
You talk about combat.
He was FSU's first All-American, and he was a linebacker and pound for pound one of the toughest football players that had ever played with.
13 seconds and counting. That should be the last play of the game. UCF 63-6. See if we get a countdown.
The noise tells it all. The crowd that is still here is cheering their heroes on to an 8-3 season, their very first year in the Division I AA, and it looks like they're going to go to the playoffs, John. I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's what the coaches set out to do in the beginning of the year. We set 2 goals, 1 to have a winning season, 2 to make it to the playoffs.
Well, it looks like for sure you could conclude that they're on the catbird seat in terms of making the playoffs with that 63-6 triumph. And if they were looking to send a message to some non-believers after the close score with Slippery Rock, mission accomplished. One thing we are still a bit concerned about, Kerry Henderson on the far sideline is down and apparently may go off in an ambulance. Now he is up. Now he's up on his own feet, or on his own power rather, so that's good. We said that earlier, and then he went down again, so we once again got concerned, but he appears to be back up, and perhaps the ambulance will not be required. You look at Sean Beckton making his exit, Willie Britton and company, and these guys like to come through that tunnel a few more times this year, and tomorrow at 3 o'clock they'll be tuning into CV Sports when they can hear the selection live at 3 o'clock. And we certainly invite you to take part in those festivities as well, and you have to believe if you're a betting man, it will be good news for UCF. I want to remind you of the Kumquat Bowl one more time. Daytona Mainland versus Winter Park. High school football at its best live November 22nd at 11:30 in the morning. So Thanksgiving morning, look at the Macy's Parade and then tune in to CV Sports.
You know, one of the things that Gene McDowell has got to be excited about, Rick Stockstill, who's up at Clemson, who used to coach here, has said that this program is going to make it very tough to recruit kids out of our area. And Gene's got to be happy with his performance, and he should have a good year recruiting.
And assistant head coach Paul Lounsbury is down with Tom McCullion, and let's listen into the conversation.
Thank you once again, John, down here with Coach Paul Lounsbury, and you got to be real happy. This is a great victory for you.
It sure is. The line takes a lot of pride in setting rushing records, and we did that tonight in great fashion with G. Cone English got his first 100-yard game, and Beckton scored every way you could score, and it's just a great win for us, and I think we're ready for the playoffs. And we're peaking on offense, and our defense is playing great still, so it's just great. I hope we make the playoffs and do it right.
Well, there's that one term again, peaking. Tomorrow, the announcements come out, you find out, it's almost got to be a cinch. What happens now?
We just get ready to play whoever it is. I don't care who it is or where it is. I hope it's at home, but it doesn't matter. We just get ready to play whoever it is and keep on playing as long as we can play.
You get the team together tomorrow, and you tell them, hey, we're going there, we're going to play. You may be playing some of these guys you played earlier this season.
Well, we'll find out at 3 o'clock tomorrow. There's a press conference at the NCAA. We'll find out where and who
at that time, and it doesn't matter. I hope it is Eastern Kentucky, Georgia Southern. We want to get revenge on them if we can, but, I mean, it doesn't matter. Whoever it is, we're just going to line up and play and do our best.
Well, you've seen them once before, both those teams, and I tell you what, I think you guys probably have the advantage because you guys have accomplished so much this season. You've grown so much, both offensively and defensively, and we're talking about the seniors. You got to be proud of those guys.
Oh, the seniors have done a great job of leadership and playing, and like I said, I hope it is Eastern Kentucky, Georgia Southern. It won't be the same kind of game that played the first time, but it doesn't really matter. We just get ready and play, and the seniors have done a great job. They're continuing to do a great job, and they want to win it all.
That's great, Coach. Congratulations. I'll let you get in there to the team. I tell you what, John, we didn't get all of them, and I apologize. I did everything I could, but they're moving fast. I just want to read off a couple names here. Robert Lindsay, nose guard. Larry Salazar, linebacker. Of course, we talked to Brian Sargent. And Britton Williams, the offensive guard. 17 of these seniors here really have led to a great season, and they're heading to the playoffs. And if they play like they played tonight, look out. I think we're going to see a #1 championship here in Orlando. John, Gary, back up to you in the booth.
Thank you, Tom. Nice job on a special night here at the Citrus Bowl. We'll be back with more of our post-game show right after.
So the next game's going to be in Orlando, Florida, folks. 20-17. Franco Grella put it a line drive, got over the crossbar, 20 of distance, and what an upset.
UCF, our home team, is being brought to you by Budget Rent-A-Car, Coca-Cola, Dairy Farmers Incorporated, the Orlando Sentinel, T.G. Lee Dairy, and by Winter Park Memorial Wellness Center.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the program. That kick that you just watched may very well have been the biggest kick in UCF football history. Franco Grilla winning one yesterday for the UCF Fighting Knights in a first-round game of the 1AA playoffs over Youngstown State. You stunned the Penguins yesterday, Gene McDowell. The final score was 20-17. And, you know, last week at this time we were sitting here wondering if we would have another program because we weren't certain at that point whether you would be in the playoffs. And now we're sitting here talking about you moving into the quarterfinals. Congratulations.
That's right, Pat. We'll have another show next Sunday at the same time. Win or lose in this next game, but certainly we hope to win and advance into the playoffs another week. Happiness is advancing to the quarterfinals. And we'll be playing William and Mary next week, and we had a great game yesterday. This was a trip that we looked forward to, you know, for only a week because we didn't realize until last Sunday that we were going to be playing in Youngstown, Ohio. And man, I hate cold weather. And it was cold there, and we played on artificial turf. We had about 10 or 12,000 people that were hostile toward us. I thought our players handled all those adverse elements extremely well. Came out and really attacked in the first quarter. Mark Giacone had 100 yards in the first quarter alone. And the first half was ours. Now, the second half, I think Youngstown outfought us a little bit, especially in the third quarter. And they really outplayed us, and they scored. We had them down 17-6 at half. And then in the second half, they came back and tied it up. But then, in the true night form, for the sixth time in the last 2 years, we came back in the last minute to win the game. And by the way, that 3-second field goal is the second time we've kicked a field goal with 3 seconds left on the clock to win since we've been here. Our first game against Bethune-Cookman in 1985, Eddie O'Brien kicked a 56-yard field goal to win that game. And then last night, of course, Franco Grilla's kick for the big win, probably the biggest win in the history of UCF.
That was an impressive drive, too. You folks will get to see highlights here coming up. You consumed the last 3 minutes and 33 seconds of the game, and you did it with some big plays. You hit Sean Beckton with a key pass, then Ozzie Osborne to set up the field goal.
We showed a lot of class in that ball game. They had a nice punt. They were moving the ball. First of all, our defense stopped Youngstown when they had to at the end. Back-to-back sacks shut them down. We ended up sacking them. Buckley got a sack to get them into a third down situation where they kicked their field goal to tie the game. And then in their last possession, Buckley got another sack to get them out of field goal range, so that they ended up having to punt. Well, we fielded the punt on our own 12-yard line. and with 3 minutes and 33 seconds or so to go in the ball game. And that was a very tough drive, and I thought we handled it extremely well. This football team is a little bit unusual in being able to handle very adverse conditions, being able to move the football at the end of the game when we're behind and come back and win.
All right, before we go further and talk about this game, let's take a look at some of the other 1AA playoff scores from yesterday. Middle Tennessee State defeated Jackson State 28-7. Boise State proving that it is very strong, defeated a tough Northern Iowa team. The Panthers losing 20-3 was the final there. Nevada over Northeast Louisiana yesterday. Furman surprised Eastern Kentucky 45-17, although this was the Furman team that was ranked #1 early in the season.
And of course Eastern Kentucky is without their great quarterback as well.
William and Mary will be UCF's opponent next week. 38-0 win over Massachusetts. You said this is the leading scoring team in the country, right, Gene?
Yes, they are. They're leading the country in total offense with a little over 500 yards per game, plus an average of 38 points per game. It'll be the best offense that we've played against.
You saw that Georgia Southern was a winner, as was Idaho. Georgia Southern is in UCF's bracket, so should UCF win this week and Georgia Southern win, that will set up another showdown with those boys. I'm sure you would welcome that opportunity. We're going to show some highlights, a lot of highlights from yesterday's game, so stay with us.
I suppose it's pointless to ask how you really feel right now, isn't it?
Oh, I tell you, I've never felt better in my life. I've never seen a team do that. I say this team is the best fourth quarter team I've ever played. I can't even breathe. I'm so ecstatic right now.
This game started. What were you guys thinking?
Oh, we knew we had a chance. You know, we saw the game film and stuff on them, and we knew we had a chance to beat them. You know, football game can go either way when you're in a championship game like that.
It's a little after the fact now, but can you believe what happened out here?
I still can't believe it. It really hadn't hit me yet. You know, I'm real excited. You know, I can't wait to go home next week and play in the Citrus Bowl. I'm real excited.
I know there are going to be a lot of people excited and waiting for that game this coming Saturday afternoon.
The record crowd for 1AA playoff game is about 25,000, Pat, so hopefully we'll break that record this week.
Since there was no television of yesterday's game, and since a lot of you folks would really like to see what happened, we're going to show you some extended highlights of yesterday's game. And our highlights, of course, as always, brought to you by Cellular One, with maximum reachability clearly covering more of Florida. It was a nippy day up there, but the conditions weren't that awful, were they, Gene?
Well,
I'm the only, now has a head cold.
I'm the only one that dislikes cold weather, I guess, on the team. The players played well. Of course, when you're playing in this kind of weather, the players don't ever notice the weather. You know, they're out there and they're pretty hot. Actually should have been called, but it wasn't.
You said Mark Giacone had a great day and a fantastic first quarter. He just took it right at the Penguins, gaining 100 yards in the first period alone. This is a big gainer here coming up, 15 yards to the 48-yard line. And on the game, Mark, 25 carries for 191 yards. That's more than 1,000 yards on the season, Gene.
This is a fantastic season so far for Mark. Hopefully he'll have a few more games to play. And, of course, this week against William and Mary, he's going to have another great day. And, of course, the offensive line did a great job blocking. Marsden, Bishop, Goforth graded extremely well, as usual. Goforth had 4 roach blocks, and I'll explain what a roach block is to you later on.
This is a 14-yard touchdown run by Mark, capping a 9-play, 80-yard drive, and all of a sudden it's 7-0.
Pat, this is like 6 games in a row that we've scored on the opening drive. Exceptional operation by the offense, and speaks well for their planning.
Archie Herring is the guy who does a lot of the dirty work for the Penguins. This was him on a kickoff return. After the UCF touchdown, he didn't get much of anything. And Sean Patton here is actually dropped for a negative yardage there. He lost about a yard. Bobby Spitulski in on the tackle there. And we should point out, too, Gene, that as a team, Youngstown State gained only 147 yards on the ground yesterday.
We held them to about half the yardage that they were accustomed to gaining, Pat, which is certainly a great job by our defense. Spitulski had a total of 10 tackles, counting assists, and with a sack in the ball game, as you mentioned. He did a great job.
And you could see that the Youngstown State receivers are having a hard time hanging on to the ball, so UCF gets the ball back deep in its own territory. And this is true Mark Giacone right there.
Well, our backs are so hard to tackle. I think Alan Smockey from the Sentinel in his article this morning mentioned that the difference in the game is the fact that they were unable to score touchdowns on our defense and they were unable to tackle our backs, and I think that he had to hit it right on the head.
Ron Johnson did a good job engineering things for you yesterday when he did throw, which was not often. He was 8 of 11 for 106 yards.
I thought he had just a superb day. In fact, he threw one ball that would have been a touchdown on a post to Jefferson if Jefferson just lost the ball a little bit in his view. It was a great throw.
Still in the first period now, UCF will take a 10-0 lead. This is Franco Grillo field goal, 43-yard field goal.
We would have scored a touchdown on this drive if not for a holding penalty, Pat. So I thought that getting a field goal there was a crucial thing for us.
Isaacs was sacked 3 or 4 times yesterday, that one by David Nelson. You saw Bobby Spitulski come in there late with a face mask. That gave them a few extra yards. This is Isaac now to patent to the 46-yard line. And when Isaac got to work, he did a good job. He's a good little quarterback.
Oh, he's excellent. Great touch on the ball and highly accurate. I liked him quite a bit. But we had 4 sacks, as you mentioned the sacks. We had 4 sacks in the ball game, which brings our total for the season to 36. As you know, we set the record last week at 32.
Here's Isaac. We'll find Smith, and he'll get it down to just about the 18-yard line. And Ray Ellington, who, as you folks will see, is a fine little receiver, will catch a pass. David Nelson in here making a nice stop, and Youngstown State would have to kick a field goal here.
That was crucial to keep them off the board here and force the field goal. Of course, they have very good kickers, so now they've got 3 points.
And Youngstown State did a good job on this particular drive. That one covered 56 yards in 14 plays. Here's Sean Jefferson on the ensuing kickoff team.
Sean, as you know, is our #1 kickoff return man, and the first one he had in the game wasn't all that good, but this is pretty good. When he gets out past the 30-yard line and gets us in good field position. And Russ Salerno had another good day punting the football, too. He averaged 40 yards on 4 kicks, which is very good.
That one was right around 40 yards, and Youngstown State with the ball again. This is Isaac to Andre Ballinger. This one goes good to the 47-yard line. He did a good job of getting out of trouble there.
They were very fortunate, throwing back across the grain as many times as they did, not getting one intercepted. We've got to get a lot better at containing the passer, though.
Clearing here with a 9-yard gain. That one goes down to the 43-yard line, and then they'll give the ball right back to him again. Nice run here to the 23.
Shane Law made that tackle, and Shane was in on 11 tackles yesterday. Just did an excellent job.
Isaac had nowhere to go on that particular one, which would force Youngstown to kick yet another field goal. This was a 21-yarder by Jeff Wilkins, and it was a 10-6 at the time. That was a 10-play, 64-yard drive.
Now, this next drive, we were really feeling it here. They were taking the fight to us, and we weren't doing too well. You know, they had 2 possessions in a row where they got field goals, and then we take the ball and have a great drive here. This was nearly a touchdown. Mark just one more man, and he'd have had a touchdown. But that was a great effort there, and then to come back and make it 17-6 instead of 10-6 gave us more confidence.
You want to see a nice run. Watch Willie English here, and watch him juke this guy coming up here. Boom. And he's going all the way down to the 4-yard line on this run. And lost in all the great talk of Mark Giacone is Willie English, who had 94 yards yesterday.
Check this touchdown run out.
He was stopped at the 3 and somehow manages to get in. And UCF suddenly, in front of the stunned crowd in Youngstown, Ohio, is up 17-6
at halftime. Now, if we could come back in the second half and play the way we did the first half, this would have been a rout, I think. But they just wouldn't let us do it. They were too good a football team for that to happen.
Bobby Spitulski there with the sack. Then you see Mark Giacone. UCF actually had one more chance to score. Sadly, a turnover. The only turnover for UCF would negate that. That was Mark Giacone. This is the play. Willie English on a good run. Sadly, he'll cough up the ball here.
We're probably going to get a field goal here if we don't fumble the football, because we had time in the half. At least there was not enough time for them to do any good with it. But I want to mention that Lindsey, you know, had a sack in the game. Buckley had 2, which we're going to cover in this second half highlights here in a few minutes. And we just had a great game, I thought, defensively, especially adjusting to the fact that Youngstown has been a running team all year, and they come into our game apparently and didn't think that they could run the ball against us, so they didn't attempt to run it that much. Came in basically with a passing game plan, which I think that's a compliment to our players and defensive staff.
UCF looked very good in the first half, and when we come back, we're going to show you the second half highlights, and you'll get knowing what you knew about Youngstown State and their reputation. This was a team that had not been beaten this year, 11-0. Did it surprise you at all that you were leading 17-6 at halftime?
Not really. I had great confidence in our defense going into the game. I did not think they could run the football on us. The thing that did surprise me is that they were able to throw the ball as well as they did. I didn't know they had that capability. I knew that our offense could move the football on them. 17-6 is a 11-point lead at half. that happens in ball games, and I always explain to our players, don't ever get concerned about what happens in the first few minutes of a ball game, the first quarter, the second quarter. Sometimes the luck factor will enable you to get up on an opponent by some points, or you may be down by some points. Don't ever let that change your style of play. And I believe in this game it maybe changed our style of play a little bit. We got a 11-point lead, and I believe that we let down a little bit in the second half, and certainly we can't do that if we expect to win this next week.
Clearly, there was no lack of confidence on the part of your boys at halftime, though.
Well, absolutely not, Pat. We went into the game thinking that we could win. I mentioned this to Larry Guest yesterday in a conversation. Now, this is the first football team we've had that playing at this level. We haven't played a team and probably will not play a team that we feel in awe of. I mean, we're a pretty good football team. We've said that all along, and we have great confidence in ourselves.
Youngstown State with the ball here to start the second half. You'll see Isaac to Patton here. He gets it to the 31-yard line, I believe. Then he'll come right back to Patton for about 10 more yards to the 41. And again, Isaac showing that he can scramble pretty well here.
See, they have not done this. You know, they've not thrown the ball this well. That was Buckley making that tackle. He had another great game.
Mark Giacone goes right back to work. He gains 70 yards on this play. And then Ron Johnson with one of his 11 passes to Sean Beckton. This one goes to about the 47.
That was a key first down play that we had there.
This is one of the times that UCF got stuck on offense, and Johnson was sacked.
Well, we missed a block up front, and if we don't miss that block, we're going to have first down. Well, we had a holding penalty before that. Really, the holding penalty is what made us have to throw on that third down play and get sacked there.
Here's Isaac to Ellington one more time, and you'll see him catch the ball more here in the second half. This one goes to the 43-yard line. Then they'll give the ball back to Patton, and he'll get just a couple of yards on this play.
Well, I think our defensive front is playing extremely well. Our defensive linemen did not let their linemen block them the way they've blocked other people all year. As you watch this, there's just not a whole lot of movement in our defensive front. They're not doing a good job blocking.
You can see Ellington's talents here with a great over-the-shoulder catch on this play down to the 13-yard line, and that was pretty to watch.
That was a big lead catch. It wasn't so pretty to me.
Here's Herring. He'll take the ball all the way down to the 3-yard line, almost gets it in.
And they got a first down here, and it takes them 2 downs to get it in, but they do score on the second down here.
Cameron Smith here bowls his way to about the 1-yard line. They'll give the ball to him one more time, and he'll get in this time.
Too bad.
9 plays, 76 yards, and Youngstown State decided to go for 2, and they would convert here.
Well, it's unfortunate. They did a nice little thing. It's a very cute play they ran. They tricked us with the motion by the flanker back there, and the corner went to sleep on it. So that really puts a little heat on us, because they're going to come back here in a minute and go down there and kick the field goal and tie it up.
Action now from the fourth quarter. Isaac scrambling here will get all the way to the 31-yard line. Then he'll find Ellington one more time, this time to the 49-yard line. And Patton will come back and run, has nowhere to run on this play.
Well, again, they just weren't doing a good job blocking our folks. If they had not had the capability of throwing the football, this would have been a lot more fun game for us.
Isaac goes to Andre Ballinger here. This one is good down to about the 33 or 32-yard line. Then he'll pitch to Herring, and Eric Buckley makes a great play there.
You can see that Buckley had a great game. You're going to see a couple of sacks by him.
A couple of big sacks later on. This is a play that goes about 8 yards, I believe.
I think that tackle was made by Law. We mentioned a while ago that he had 11 tackles.
There's one of the sacks, a great hit by Buckley from behind, and that would force Youngstown to kick a field goal. This is a 41-yard field goal by Wilkins.
And that ties the score in the fourth quarter.
Capped a 12-play, 56-yard drive, and we were tied at 17 apiece. UCF back on offense now. This is a play that many times this year has worked well for you, the reverse to Sean Beckton.
Well, we weren't blocking this play quite as well as we had been earlier in the year, but I think, I think that Britt Williams did a nice job filling in for Derek Connor, who got hurt last week. But certainly, we don't have anyone that blocks that play better than Connor does.
Tense moment there. That was almost an interception. David Birch just absolutely dropped the ball.
We were lucky there. Games are a lot of luck factors in ball games, especially close ones like this was. If he'd intercepted that ball, we'd have lost the game.
And that was Russ Salerno getting a nice little roll on the punt there, Gene.
A 55-yard punt at the time when we had to have it. I'm glad Russ came through when he needed to.
Okay, here's Herring running to the 47-yard line. Youngstown State driving, hoping to get a lead. Then he'll take it to the 45. Not much on this particular play.
And things are a little tight here, Pat. They're moving the football on us, and time's running out. They go down there and get the job done on this drive, we're in deep trouble. But we get the sack, end up forcing them to punt.
And this was not a good punt either, was it, Gene?
Well, it's not bad. We get the ball on the 12-yard line. You know, they pin us
Pooch
down
punt,
there.
they tried to get it down inside the 10. And then UCF goes right to work here. This is Willie English, takes it to the 26-yard line.
We've got time to run the football and get it in field goal range, but there's only 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes left. This to Beckton. Beckton caught 5 passes in the game, I believe it was, and had another great day.
And this is the play that will get you in field goal range comfortably in Franco Grilla's field goal range.
John Osborne, a smart move on his part. He was simply worried about the catch. He made the catch, and we ran 3 plays. They used their timeouts. Franco made the kick, and of course we win 2017.
And I know that you were jumping up and down on the sidelines, and I believe it was Manny Messinger who says, Gene, I've never seen you this excited before. And your comment was, I've been excited like this before, but no one has known it.
That's exactly right. At my age, you know, when you get to be a half a century old, you don't show your emotions quite as much.
Brought to you by Budget Rent-A-Car, Coca-Cola, Dairy Farmers Incorporated, the Orlando Sentinel, T.G. Lee Dairy, and by Winter Park Memorial Wellness Center.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. The dream indeed lives.
Yes, it
Gene
does.
McDowell, a big playoff win yesterday for the UCF Knights. You folks know about it over William and Mary. 52-38 was the final. And before we go any further, let me introduce to you folks the man who is sitting next to Gene McDowell. This is Bucky Wagner, who happens to be the athletic director at Georgia Southern. Significant only when you know that UCF will be playing Georgia Southern next week. Welcome, Bucky.
Thank you.
We'll talk with you a little bit later, but Gene, first, let's a quick comment on the game. That was quite a performance yesterday.
But first, let me say what a thrill it is to have Bucky on the show with us. He and I are friends from a long time back and maintain a great friendship. His son, Mike, is on our staff, so it's just a thrill for us to play in another game with Georgia Southern because we have such a great relationship. The game, of course, was a great thing for UCF because it's a thrill anytime to win a game that you've got no chance to win. Nobody in this country except the UCF people gave us a chance to win that game yesterday, and our players did what they had to do to win that game, and that was play really hard-nosed football for 60 minutes. And we told them all week that that was our only chance because William and Mary, a great tradition university, and in athletics, great tradition, was a team that we had great respect for.
Bucky, quickly, your team had to hold off a team yesterday to get this far, didn't they?
We sure did. We had our toes curled all the way up in our shoes. Recovered a fumble in the last 3 minutes to stop their drive when we were ahead 28-27 and held on to the ball at the end of the football game. But we had a 21-3 lead and blew the lead, and they had 570-some yards passing against us. Kid hit 33 out of 42, and it was a long afternoon.
You folks can see the score there. 28-27 was the final. Also yesterday, Boise State defeated Middle Tennessee State 20-13, and Nevada over Furman in 3 overtimes, 42-35. The one that we're interested in is next Saturday's game against Georgia Southern, a game that, by the way, will begin at 12:30. We're going to show you plenty of highlights from yesterday's game. If you folks didn't see it, you're going to want to stick around to see these highlights. Stay with us. They could put points on the board today?
Well, not really. I mean, you know, they're a quality football team. When you get this far into the playoffs, every team you play is going to be good, and it's just a matter of going out and executing, and they just executed better than we did today.
That was Chris Hakel, who is as poised a quarterback as you will ever see, and you folks will be able to see that here in just a couple of seconds. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights yesterday. A day where UCF would roll up 578 yards of total offense, Gene McDowell.
That surprised me, Pat. I had no idea we could move the ball that well, and of course we were so afraid of their offense. We had great respect for it. It led the nation in scoring, 35.8 points a game, over 500 yards per game on the average. Had played University of Virginia and scored 35 points on them when Virginia was ranked #1 in the country. Really a great performance by our youngsters.
UCF would have
230 yards of offense in the first quarter alone, including 203 through the air. You see Mark Giacone there. Didn't get any yardage on that one, but he would get the motors going before this day was over. Talk about getting the motors going. Take a look at Ron Johnson here to Sean Beckton, second play of the game.
Yes, sir, this is a touchdown for us. Beckton had 6 receptions for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also threw a completed pass for 76 yards to Sean Jefferson for a touchdown, which we'll see shortly.
And another thing, too, Ron Johnson maybe had his best game as a UCF player yesterday, 15 of 22 for 224 yards.
And 2 touchdowns. And he had 69 yards rushing, Pat, which is a little unusual for a quarterback that throws as much as he did yesterday, but it was outstanding.
And you folks should keep in mind, too, that UCF's defense yesterday was going up against a team that had the highest rated offense in the country. William and Mary could put points on the board. And this is one of the reasons. This Chris Hakel, fantastic player, to Mike Locke here. This would be good for 32 yards all the way to the UCF 27-yard line.
Chris Hakel is the best non-option quarterback that we've played against since we've been here, Pat. Just an exceptional quarterback that I would think has pro ability.
You saw a great hit there by Eric Buckley on an incomplete pass. But then, now this is Hakel. Under pressure, gets the ball away to Mike Comper for a 19-yard touchdown.
Just a fantastic play, and of course we end up letting the receiver get inside of us on a man coverage technique, and when you do that, then you're vulnerable.
That was a 5-play, 62-yard drive, and it was 7-7. Still very early here in the first period. Here's Sean Jefferson returning 19 yards to the 32-yard line on the kickoff.
Our kickoff returns were excellent. If he hadn't bobbled the ball, I think he might have gone the distance on that one.
Good catch coming up here, too, by Brett Cooper. Gene.
Brett Cooper breaks his collarbone here on this play. What a great catch, too, and there's a crucial third down catch for us.
That went all the way to the 48-yard line. Then they'll give the ball to Mark Giacone. He gains 10 yards, and 10 hard yards to the 42-yard line.
You can see he does not want to get tackled.
And when Ron Johnson, this is one of his great talents, when he doesn't throw it, he can run with it if he has to.
This is part of his 69 yards rushing, and what an excellent job of getting the first down here.
He gained 19 yards on that play, and it would help set up this touchdown pass. Again, this one goes to Sean Beckton, good for 23 yards.
Again, one of his 6.
8 plays, 68 yards, and it was 14-7. And again, we're still very early in the first period here. Points are going up on the board like all get out. Sean Davis will return this one nicely for William and Mary. The tribe all the way to the 43-yard line, a 36-yard return.
Generally, our kickoff coverage team's done well all year, but they did have 2 nice returns on us yesterday.
One of their runners in the backfield, this kid can go. Robert Green, 20 yards here to the 37-yard line.
A nice play by Buckley.
And then this is a great pass reception here by Joe Person. This is to the 8-yard line, a 29-yard gain.
But they had a penalty on the play, and then they came back on a blitz and hit a hot receiver and went back down inside the 10. They're going to end up scoring on this drive.
Catch by Locke here at the 8-yard line. You want to see hands. Take a look at how he caught this one. This was on a critical third down play. It gets it down to the 8-yard line. Nice
you
catch.
can certainly see why we were so worried about their offense. They've got great skill, and as I mentioned, their offensive line is the best we've played against.
Okay, and this is the touchdown pass that would tie the game at 14. 5 plays, 57 yards. Sean Jefferson, Gene, you alluded to the great kickoff returns. This one good for 12 yards, but I believe a clip brought this back.
We had the clip there on about the 20-yard line, and they certainly almost spit that one for the distance.
So the clip takes it back, and then Perry Belasis will get the ball here and try to give UCF some room, a 12-yard run to the 16-yard line.
This was a good trap play for us there to get us out of the hole. And we're going to move down here on a 97-yard touchdown drive, and we're going to end it right here with Sean Beckton to Sean Jefferson for the long 76-yard completion for a touchdown.
76-yard play. I believe 3 times this year Sean Beckton has thrown a pass. 3 times it's been complete, 3 times for a touchdown.
3 for 3. You can't beat that, can you?
It's not too bad, is it? 5 plays, 92 yards on that one. This is Jim Bodley returning. Not a bad little return here, 25 yards. He'll get it out to the 33-yard line. And then Tyrone Shelton will take the ball. This is a 2-yard gain to the 35. And we mentioned before that William and Mary, a very potent offensive attack. Hakel can throw the ball, and showing here that he can run with it. 30 yards on a big 3rd and 8 play all the way to the 35-yard line.
Just an outstanding play. He had a wide receiver, the tight end on the drag pattern. If he had wanted to throw to him, he probably would have gained a little more yardage on it.
Green now with 3 tough yards. And then Bobby Spitulski will get into the backfield quick and sack Mr. Hakel. 3 sacks for UCF.
And Spitulski had 2 of them, and a very nice job. You know, they came into the game with only 1 sack a game, and we ended up getting 3 for the day.
Okay, now UCF, this is Johnson to Becton up top here. This is good for about 21 yards.
Yes, sir, this one could have gone a little longer if our tight end had a nice block on the corner up top.
Your punting game was not bad yesterday. Russ Salerno here with a nice 40-yarder.
He had a 40, a 57, and a 40, I believe, during the course of the game. The best day that he's had. He's getting better every week.
21-14, by the way, was the score at the end of the first period. Now this is William and Mary on the attack again. Hakel to Kingsfield here. This is good for 30 yards. A nice pass.
That's a great play.
To the 38-yard line. Then Alan Williams will take the ball, and watch him go here. This is good for 16 yards.
Well, didn't they have some backs that could run?
Oh,
great speed.
Down to the 15-yard line, but William and Mary would be forced to kick a field goal. This is Dan Mueller with a 39-yarder, capping a 9-play, 59-yard drive. It was 21-17.
And they had a pro kicker. They get a field goal here. They're going to come back and get another one to make it 20-21.
Got the ball back. Green again, rushing for 17 yards to the 37.
You see Buckley making a lot of plays. You see Bill Stewart making that play. Stewart had 8 tackles and 4 assists during the game and a sack, and Buckley had 4 tackles, 7 assists. Those guys probably played the best overall.
Hakel there to comfort the man he had hit on a touchdown pass earlier. Good for 11 yards here. He'll come back and hit Person on a great 28-yard pass down to the UCF 23.
A very well-designed, conceived pass offense, and put that great pass offense together with these 2,000-yard rushers really made their offense potent.
Good play by Steve right here, breaking up.
Almost intercepted it for the distance.
Almost took it right out of his hands indeed. Then Jimmy Roberts would break one up here in the end zone. Take a look at this play.
What an excellent play by Jimmy. You know, they had us beat just a little bit if the ball had been lofted more, but it wasn't. Jimmy makes a nice recovery and tips the ball away.
And because of this play, which you're again seeing in slow motion, William and Mary had to kick yet another field goal. Mueller this time from 37 yards out, and that capped a 9-play, 60-yard drive, and it was 21-20 at the time.
And they're going to come back and really make it tight for us here before the half. You know, they're going to go back here and score another touchdown before the half.
Nice little return by Montrell Green here.
Montrell handled a very hot ball there in the middle of the field and ran it back nicely.
One of Johnson's few errors here. He's intercepted by Scarrett, and he'll return at 21 yards. And you told me yesterday at one point in the game, you were wondering, you were talking out loud to my crews, like, what are we going to do here? Are we going to have to replace Ron Johnson?
Well, we didn't go that far, Pat, but we were very concerned. 3 wild pitches in a row, and we got Ron on the phone with Mike, and Ron said, listen, settle down, coaches. I'm okay. Things are going to be fine. And sure enough, he was right.
Spitulski, you just saw him there with another sack. That was at the 35-yard line, but William and Mary just kept coming at UCF. You saw Green there for a couple of yards, and Hakel to Williams. This is good, down to about the 12-yard line.
Buckley and Stewart back in on that tackle, and let me say that Lindsey had a great game with 6 tackles also.
This is William and Mary still looking good. They're driving down, and they're ultimately going to score. Hakel will take it in from 1 yard out here. Did it surprise you at all, knowing what William and Mary could do? I mean, did anything that they do surprise you yesterday?
Oh, no. You know, we did a great job here. We get pass interference on a great play. They're going to score here from the 1 yard line, and then they're going to go for 2 points. They end up making the score 28-21.
This, by the way, capped a 10-play, 49-yard drive, and that's the 2-point conversion that was good, giving William and Mary a 28-21 lead. But UCF certainly wasn't done. Sean Jefferson will return this kickoff 25 yards to the 27-yard line, and we are now fairly late in the second quarter.
And we go to our no-huddle shotgun formation, and we end up getting a field goal here before the half. Franco was true to his mark, and we end up making a game out of it again. We were pretty worried about it. I think going to the no-huddle spread offense possibly put a little confusion into them, because they were beginning to believe that we couldn't move the ball with our conventional offense, and I believe that their halftime preparation probably got them ready to play against this offense in the second half, and we came back and surprised them in the second half, which we're going to see here before long.
That was a headsy play on that shuffle pass to Dickinson a couple times.
Wasn't that a great play by Ron Johnson? And of course, Dickinson keeping his head in the game. It picked up a first down for us and kept the ball alive for us on the drive. Of course, I wish Dickinson had gotten out of bounds here on this play. He should have.
Franco Grillo would kick a 32-yard field goal. It was 28-24, William and Mary. 10 plays, 58 yards. UCF wasn't done yet. On the kickoff return, William and Mary is going to fumble the ball, and we literally have seconds left in the half. You see the fumble right there. UCF recovers, so you quickly get the field goal team back out on the field.
Yeah, I think Jason Kotar or Ariel caused that fumble. Each of them caused one in the game, and Nelson or Wright recovered it. We caused 2 fumbles on kickoffs and recovered both. Kotar, Ariel, Nelson, and Wright did the damage on those plays.
28-24 was the score at halftime, and you folks may have noticed that wasn't a lot of great running for UCF in the first half, but folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. Second half highlights when we come back.
Good Lord, that was something. Well, it was an extra round pass. I came around in reverse, and somehow the defensive end came upfield, so I just stopped and just let it go, and Sean Jefferson just ran underneath it.
How does it feel? Can you believe this is happening, man?
It feels real great. It's my senior year. I'm going out of style.
Good man. Congratulations, Sean. How does this feel knowing that you're now in the semifinals?
It's a great feeling. We knew we can get there from the beginning, you know. We're glad we got the opportunity, and we're just going to prove to Orlando that we come out to play.
Did you guys know that you could roll up 52 points on a team like William and Mary? Did that surprise you at all?
Well, we knew we had to score. You know, every time they score, we had to score too, but so we scored a little bit more today.
Tell me what it's like now. No, obviously happy about the win, but how do you feel knowing now that you have to go to Georgia Southern to play rather than play here again next week?
It doesn't matter because we're looking right now as a little payback time. We want to play Georgia Southern real bad.
Did you hear that, Bucky?
I missed that part.
Gene, what was the conversation at halftime? Trailing by 4 points. I believe Mike Kruzik came down and said, we have got to start running the football and doing it effectively.
Well, really, our conversation all week was we had no chance to win the game if we want to match skill to skill. I mean, they had a great football team, great offensive line, great skilled players, that we had to win it in the trenches and that we had to make a war out of the game in order to have a chance to win. And you can see right there,
Mark
this is
Giacone was inspired at all by what was said at halftime. Willie English here, too, with a nice 14-yard game, and we've talked about it many times. Mark Giacone gets a lot of the ink, but it's nice to have guys like Willie English back there, too, isn't it?
I'm looking forward to giving Patrick Stewart a little chance to play some. You know, with these other 2 guys doing such a great job, and they refuse to get hurt, so Patrick's sitting there biding his time, and one of these days you're going to see how good he is.
Mark Giacone here with 2 tough yards. He takes it all the way down to the William and Mary 5-yard line, and then Willie English will do the rest.
That was a very crucial 3rd or 4th down play. I think it was a 4th down play that Mark fought for the yardage there.
Okay, you see Mr. Giacone, and here's the touchdown play coming up from the 5-yard line, the pitch out to Willie English.
He shows his speed here. You know, he just gets outside. They were trying to shut off the isolation play and the inside plays, and he gets outside.
And right away in the 3rd period, UCF regains the lead, 31-28. Now you've got Russ Salerno punting out of the deep in his own end zone.
This one, I was beginning to worry again. We get out there, they get the ball on the 35-yard line. They're going to go in and get some points here. We were very concerned that we ran 3 running plays back there on the 5-yard line and were unable to move the football.
Good pursuit there by Bobby Spitulski, no gainer. Hakel will be incomplete here. Walter Gibson, I believe, in the end zone there.
That was another excellent play. Walt made a great play on the ball.
Mueller with a 34-yard field goal, and folks, this would tie the game up at 31. In fact, the score was 31-all as they went to the 4th quarter. Still in the 3rd, this is Stewart with a kickoff return, 19 yards.
Patrick Stewart, you know, I mentioned him a while ago. He hadn't played much, but Jefferson is usually the return man, and we give Patrick a few returns, and that was a good fight that he got the ball out past the 20.
Talking about Ron Johnson being able to keep the ball and run effectively. Take a look at this play, Gene.
I think Ron gains about 45 yards on this play. Just a great heads-up play, and we had to have the yardage here. You know, the score's 31-all, and they're fighting hard in the ball game. We had to make something happen, and I'd say this was really the momentum turner right there in the 3rd quarter.
It wasn't done yet. The pass isn't there, so he tucks it under, and he'll keep this and gain 11 more yards on this play.
And fights for the 1st down marker, as you can see.
Gets it down to the 24-yard line, and that is just about where the 3rd quarter ended. Now we're in the 4th period. Johnson to Becton here, 19 yards, all the way to the 2-yard line. Nice play there.
And they didn't give in easily here. This was not easy. It took us 3 plays to get the ball in the end zone here. And we've been running the sweep, so ran the belly, played the fullback, and it made it easy.
Perry Belasis takes it in. It's 38-31. That was a 9-play, 80-yard drive, folks. And now Bodley on the kickoff return to the 27. Nice little run back here.
And I might mention our defense did an excellent job here in the third quarter and on into the fourth quarter of making William and Mary punt some. What a great play there by Hamilton. You know, I like to greet those backs occasionally like that in the hole.
Okay, you see Roberts breaking up the pass again. That's 2 or 3 times in that game that he had done
Another
that.
excellent deflection by Jimmy.
And that was an important series because UCF forced William and Mary to punt, a bad punt here. UCF gets it in great field position, I believe, at about the 43-yard line.
And they're finally beginning to fold a little bit under the heat of the pressure. The tough, hard-nosed, enduring pressure. Finally, they begin to fold a little bit.
This is vintage Mark Giacone here. Look at this cat go, boy.
He gets this ball all the way down to the 2-yard line, I believe.
Yep, all the way to the 2-yard line, and then 2 plays later, it would go to Mark again. This good for a 2-yard touchdown. 5 plays, 57 yards, and suddenly, Gene, it was 45-31. And if you folks were at the game yesterday, the place was going nuts about them.
Suddenly a 2-touchdown lead, and now they're going to fight very hard and come back and make it a 1-touchdown lead again. And the last drive, we want to talk a lot when we get to that about the mentality of what happened in that final drive.
Big play there by Stewart on the sack. William and Mary lost 5 yards on this play, but this is Hakel here. This is how this kid can go. On 3rd and 5, this is an incredibly important play, and what does he do? He completes it for 38 yards past midfield.
And Shane Law was in position to make the interception, and he slipped when he broke on the ball. If he hadn't, I think he would have returned it for a touchdown.
Nice play by Ray Irvin here, Gene.
Yes, sir. Ray Irvin had another great game, and he played a lot of man coverage in the ball game, and he did his part.
Okay, then they're going to give the ball to Green. He would run for a while, but actually gained no yardage on this particular play. But then Hakel would go back up top and find one of his favorite receivers, Kingsfield, good for 20 yards, I believe. This would be good to the 27-yard line of UCF.
That was a nice tackle by Hamilton on that last one. And, of course, there's some real good collisions going on down there, which is really our style. That was Buckley putting a big hit on.
And there's a no-gainer. This was Shelton. In fact, I believe he lost a yard on that play, but then they'd give the ball to Green, and he'd get it all the way down to the 1-yard line.
That was one of those nice plays by Lindsey in the ball game. And then they go up and over for the touchdown to make it a 1-touchdown game again. Now, time's wasting. It's down to about 5 minutes in the game. We're going to have to hold on to the football. We're going to go 80 yards.
And hold on, they did. I believe this is a key 3rd down play here, isn't it, Gene?
It certainly is, and Sean Jefferson makes the catch there from Ron Johnson to keep the drive alive. And we're going to go on down now and not have to throw the ball, but we're going to mash it.
Mash, you did. That Perry Belasis there for 9 yards. Then they'll give it to Willie English, and he'll get 4 more tough yards. And then come back with Mark Giacone, who, by the way, I believe had 110 yards on the ground yesterday.
He's had back-to-back great, in fact, the last 2 weeks, Mark's had about 300 yards rushing in the 2 playoff games.
And you come back with a little belly play and didn't know it was going to go for a touchdown, but by golly, it did. Perry Belasis 28 yards, and that was it, folks. 52-38, the score in the 4th period, and UCF would go on to win this one. Must have been a good feeling for you too.
Finally, we caused this fumble, on the kickoff after our last touchdown. Of course, we take the ball, Ron gets on the knee twice, and the game is over. It is a big feeling, Pat. Obviously, when you win a game, anytime a win is a great special feeling. But when you win against all odds, when nobody in the world except your own people think you have a chance to win the game, that's when it's really special.
You were talking to me last night after the game too about this group of young men, I'm not going to say they were nobodies. I'm saying it only figuratively. But they come in and you have molded a fine group of young men here, haven't you?
I'd say we've molded each other, Pat. Every one of these, there's not a soul on this team that came in here as a prima donna. Every one of them had to work himself from the very bottom. 16 of our top 25 players walked on to this team without scholarship help. Now, of course, they're all on scholarship, but they came in bottom of the heap. Nobody thought they were good enough to play college football out of high school except us, and we encouraged most of them to walk on here. And they worked their way from the very bottom of the heap, red shirt, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th team, to finally be a starter after 2 or 3 years in the program, and now they're getting their just reward.
I got to tell you, Gene, I've seen a lot of football games, and I was inspired by the way your fellows played yesterday. That was very impressive. We're going to take a break and come back and talk about that Georgia Southern game. So stay with us.
What happened at halftime? It seemed like that, you were scoring points, but the running game didn't seem to have a large effect on all of that. Then all of a sudden in the second half, you specifically seemed to come alive there.
Well, I don't think it was just me. I think the whole offense came alive. We came here in the locker room, and Coach Cruz says, the only way we're going to win this game is we got to establish the running game. We got to eat up the clock, and that's just what we did. And the whole offense did a great job.
Okay, now you have Georgia Southern again. Probably looking forward to the rematch, but would probably rather be playing it here next week, right?
Well, I think we're up in Statesboro, are we, Pat? But it doesn't matter where we go. I mean, we're playing Georgia Southern, and we're due for a win there. Definitely, it's been 7 years, I think.
The poise of Chris Hakel, the quarterback for William and Mary, and then you come out there and show every bit as much poise today. You must feel good about all of it.
Well, I'm working with a great group of guys, on that offense. We've come together all year, and they've done a great job, which makes my job easier. And, for me, I put all my confidence and trust in the Lord. He gives me peace out there on the field.
This is a kid here, too.
Get wet usually means take a shower or go to the beach, but it has a different meaning. Aquatic exercise will be explained to you by Dr. Van Oort from the Peggy and Philip B. Crosby Wellness Center in this week's Wellness Tip.
Water exercises were important in the days of the Romans, and they're being rediscovered today, and for a good reason. They can be healthy, beneficial, and they typically fit in everybody's workout schedule.
The basic benefits of a water aerobic program is that we can work on increasing range of motion, flexibility, strength, endurance, and some other features in one and the same program without having to go to a multitude of exercise equipment. Basically, anybody can benefit of a water exercise program. Besides a general exercise program, it can be beneficial for people who have asthma. It can be used in cardiac rehab. It can be used in our arthritis programs. So it gives us a multitude of opportunities to exercise people. The benefits of our Aqua Arc, which is a heated therapeutic pool, is that we can suspend people in a kind of life jacket where they can do exercises, again, without having floor impact, and with the possibility of obtaining the highest possible range without stressing the joints. Water exercises are really fun. They let you enjoy the exercises. Even like working with the temperature can really melt down your body and make sure that you enjoy flexibility and strengthening exercises afterwards.
As you can see, water exercises can be beneficial for everybody, both for general conditioning as well as when you come back from an injury. For more information or for a free splash in the pool, please call us at the Peggy and Philip B. Crosby Wellness Center at 646-7443.
Okay, the Knights are in the Final Four next Saturday at Georgia Southern. 12:30 is game time, and if you don't know anything about Georgia Southern, we should tell you that this is a team that in the last 5 years has played in the championship game in 1AA 4 times and won it 3 times. Bucky, the tradition continues up there. The dynasty that Irk Russell built continues, doesn't it?
Well, I guarantee you it's going to be a war this week. Central Florida and Georgia Southern's always been a war. We were Central Florida was the first team we ever played as a football team at Georgia Southern, and we played every year since then. And I'm scared to death.
Tickets are on sale at our office tomorrow. We only have 5,000 copies of the tickets, so starting at noon, you can buy your tickets to go to Statesboro. All Pro Subs Wednesday night at 7:30, Kevin Reese's Booster Party.
Okay, the game is next Saturday. We'll be back here next. Bucky won't be here next Sunday, but Gene and I will be back, and we hope to see you.
UCF, our home team, has been brought to you by Budget Rent-A Coca-Cola, Dairy Farmers Incorporated, the Orlando Sentinel, T.G. Lee Dairy, and by Winter Park Memorial Wellness Center.
Thank you, and Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. Pat Clark along with UCF head coach Gene McDowell. And by now, most of you know the outcome of yesterday's 1AA semifinal up at Statesboro, Georgia. Georgia Southern defeating UCF. Gene, it was a good first half for the team, but something happened in the second half, and it just didn't work out for you.
Actually, the thing that I was most pleased with is it looks like finally we've come up with a technical scheme that we can play against this offense and have a chance to deal with it and slow it up enough to have a chance to win games in the future. I thought Deke Pollard and his staff just did a great job of coming up with that technical scheme. Our players defensively just played extremely well. Now, offensively, we had problems. We probably went away from our base offense. I noticed this morning in Larry Guest's column, I used to think I had the best second guessing and hindsight of anyone in the world. And I believe Larry's probably as good as I am. But he was right. We probably left our I formation base offense before we had to, although right before the half, the reason we did it was because of the limited time. We didn't have time to move the football with our regular offense. And in the 2-minute mode, we took the ball with 1 minute and 5 seconds right before the half and moved it down and scored a touchdown. And that's where that spread offense comes in, when you're behind or when you're right before the end of either half. That's when it can do you a lot of good. And I agree with Mr. Guest's point of view there. In that second half, we would have been a lot better off coming out there and moving the football as best we could with our conventional offense. And usually when you lose a game, you vote for any change that you might have made because things might have turned out a little differently. But I have no complaints about the way our players played this year. We had a great football season, and I don't want the tarnish of this loss to take away from the great luster of the great accomplishments that this team had this year. They accomplished the impossible. Getting into the playoffs was impossible, and advancing past the number 2 Youngstown State football team into the quarterfinals and then advancing past William and Mary into the semifinal game was an impossible feat for this football team, because I want to remind everyone, this is a bunch of guys that started on the bottom like you and I did. They started on the bottom and worked up to the top and helped create a great football team.
And this program now, Gene, despite losing yesterday, despite not playing in a national championship, has elevated itself to a new level.
Actually, Pat, there were games this year when everyone would say, isn't this the most important game that you've ever played? Great thing about this season is we had 5 or 6 of the most important games that we've ever played here, and weekly we agreed that yes, this is possibly the great game. But the thing I kept mentioning was this is a credibility game. We mentioned that several times during the course of the year. And going into the semifinal game and the Final Four, we knew that we couldn't lose anything that we'd already gained in terms of great credibility, in addition to the credibility that we had. Mid-season, we were talking about this team was not getting the publicity and recognition that it had earned. And then when we got named to the playoffs, all the media recognized then, hey, this is a great accomplishment for this football team. And we began to get the coverage that I think our players so richly deserved. And that great coverage, I think, caused everyone to pay attention then, as we increased our level of credibility with those late wins. This year was a football team that won 3 games in the final minute, came back from no chance to win, and scored with less than a minute to come from behind and win, really to put ourselves in position to be where we are with the great quantum leap in credibility for this program. And this morning's front page of the Orlando Sentinel had some very good information from fans and students about the fact that the great publicity that we've gotten with this great performance this year has let a lot of people know that we exist, that we are a major entity, a major public institution in this community, and certainly can lend great credibility not only to ourselves but to all of our friends and neighbors.
I think that you said that very well. We are going to do a lot in the next half hour. We're going to talk a little bit about yesterday. We're going to show you some pictures of that game, talk more about this past season, how recruiting is going for UCF. We'll talk about some of the seniors who yesterday played their last game. But before we go to a break, if you folks think that UCF had it bad yesterday, take a look at this fella named Tough Peterman. This was at a rodeo yesterday in Las Vegas. He was bucked and got his hand caught in the rope. Now the clowns are out there trying to set him free, but you'll be able to see that this is a futile attempt by them. They only had a couple of clowns out on the actual floor at the time. They had to call some out, and this guy still is stuck in the rope there. Now, the amazing thing about this, Gene, is that they will end up getting about a dozen rodeo clowns out here to finally stop this bull, and they'll free this man. And what is incredibly amazing about all this is no one was hurt.
And the great thing about him is he lived up to his name, Tough.
Tough.
Peterman. I hope our players are watching this, because we did have a rough day yesterday, but my goodness, I don't think we'd have wanted to trade places with old Tough.
You can see here that the clowns have finally actually stopped the bull, and they are freeing this man now, and you'll be able to see it. He is loose, and everything is okay. You'll see that in Glenn Deamer's Plays of the Week tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program, everybody. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some first half highlights of yesterday's game. It had been raining on Friday. In fact, it started raining in Statesboro Friday afternoon. It was cold and windy, but it wasn't really a bad day for football. And keep in mind, this is a Georgia Southern program that has a rich tradition. They've won 3 national championships, and clearly thought that they could get at least into the championship game for the 4th under first-year head coach Tim Stowers, who was one of, in fact, the youngest Division I AA head coach at the age of 32. You see Hopkins here. That's Darryl Hopkins with a nice run, 19-yard gainer to the 40-yard line. And Carl Miller, you see good pursuit by Eric Buckley here, Gene.
Yeah, they do a nice job with their offense, but again, I want to mention that our defense did a real nice job against them as far as stopping their basic offense. If we hadn't had the 3 straight turnovers in the second half, the point spread would not have been too bad.
That was a 4th down and about 2 play, and they did get the first down, but later on would have to settle for a 35-yard field goal. Mike Dallas, and it was 3-0, 12 plays on 42 yards. First play from scrimmage for UCF was a completed pass to Sean Beckton here.
Right, we throw the shield to him, and he gains about 37 yards, I believe, on the play. It's a nice job. And before we get too far in this, so I don't forget, I'd say that Craig Marsden, Andrew Bishop, Tom Lapley, even though we didn't move the ball the way we're accustomed to, had a very good game yesterday.
A little overthrow here to Sean Beckton.
Oh, and he's wide open for the touchdown. What a shame. You know, that momentum plays in a ball game make a big difference. And if we'd done the job on that one, no telling what might have happened. Then they blocked our punt, first effort of the game. And the great thing about it is our defense did a great job coming in here to stopping this effort, and they don't get any points out of it.
That's right. This is a 26-yard field goal attempt by Dallas that he missed. So UCF came out smelling like a rose on that one. Mark Giacone would finish with 45 yards on the day. Didn't get a lot of action, but gains 22 of them right here.
Isn't that a shame? You know, if again, I agree, and of course we're all very good at this today. We all know that what we did didn't work, so we would change it. I wish we'd stay with our I formation package more during the course of the ball game.
And here's Russ Salerno with another punt. You'll see good pursuit by your punt team here.
Well, our punt team has been good all year. As a matter of fact, that was the first block punt that we've had. You know, we just have done a great job with our punt team since we've been here, and we get the. Otherwise, our punt coverage was excellent.
48-yard field goal here by David Cool, and that gave Georgia Southern a 6-0 lead. Ron Johnson here, he'll find Perry Belasis to get UCF out of trouble. They had been at the 8-yard line, past the 20, a gain of 14. He was 16 of 26 for 196 yards was Ron Johnson yesterday, and he could run with the ball too, as he proved here.
Well, Ron had another good day. I thought yesterday while watching the game that, well, maybe he could get rid of the ball and not be the result of having to scramble with so much pressure, but really after watching the film this morning in the office, I'm convinced that he got about what was there for him.
Raymond Gross is the quarterback for Georgia Southern. You'll see him on a keeper for 15 yards, but on the day, because he was sacked 6 times, and we got to talk about UCF sacks on the season. He only gained 5 yards on the day, 15 yards there. Lester Efford then comes back with a 7-yard gain. And then Gross, you'll see some good defense here by UCF. In fact, he will be jarred and the ball's going to come loose. UCF will recover.
No, that was excellent. You know, finally got a turnover on them. We've been, of course, hoped that turnovers would make the difference in our favor. Of course, we answered their turnovers, so it didn't help us all that much.
Tell us quickly about the sacks while we're thinking about it, Gene.
Well, today, you know, yesterday, Spitulski had 4 sacks. I mean, that's fantastic. Lindsey had a sack, Knott had a sack, Air had a sack. The great thing about our sacks, though, is we had 46 sacks this year. The NFL record's 45. You know, we haven't gotten the kind of, our defensive front has not gotten the kind of publicity that it really deserves, because that's a phenomenal accomplishment to have 46 sacks in a season. For example, our previous record was 25 in a regular season, and we had 32 sacks after the playoff season in 1987. But 46 sacks is 14 better than the previous record. It's really a fantastic accomplishment.
Great play by Scott Ariel, who had a great game yesterday.
Scott, I'm glad that Scott got to play a lot in this game. As you know, he's from Bainbridge, Georgia, and playing against Georgia Southern meant a lot to all the Georgia boys on the team, and so he did do a nice job.
You saw Joe Ross carrying the ball there. He had 72 yards on the day yesterday. Then Gross will find Darrell Belzer. Gross on the day, passing, was 10 of 15 for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. Here comes another UCF sack. Great Bobby Spitulski here.
Well, you know, the unfortunate thing about that passing staff for them is we had him sacked on 2 of those efforts, just flat out let him go because he's such an outstanding athlete.
You saw Cool with a 44-yard field goal to make it 9-0, and then just before halftime, UCF would march downfield and score. Sean Jefferson right there. Then you'll see Mr. Johnson hit Ted Coltrane on a pass, and ultimately the one that scored the touchdown, an 18-yard shot to Sean Beckton over the middle.
And there was a nice completion there to Jefferson during that drive also to help set that thing up. But that was a well-conceived pass pattern and very well thrown by Ron. A very well pattern was run well by Beckton, and he made a nice catch on it. Okay. And of course, we're in the ball game. It's 7-9, and we're certainly in the ball game. And we're going to have to kick off to them in the second half. I've got a feeling if we'd received the kickoff in the second half, that things may have turned completely around in our favor. But they got the ball, they run it back to the midfield, and then they score on the first play of that series, and then we end up losing the football game. And frankly, I'm going to put that thing behind me and worry about the future from now on.
And you know, Joe Ross is their stud in the backfield, and he's the one who scored a 55-yard touchdown on the first play from scrimmage in the second half. But that was all he really did yesterday.
He ends up with 72 yards.
72 yards
in the game
is all that he had. And I think in the post-game press conference, you had mentioned that later on, one of Ron Johnson's passes was batted, intercepted. The man who intercepted it fumbled ahead to about midfield, and you thought that might have been the turning point.
And we recovered the ball, but the official said that part of our body was on the line, so they ended up giving it to Georgia Southern. That's exactly right. That turned it because they went down and scored. We're in scoring position when we threw the interception. We're at least going to get an opportunity to field goal. Then we come right back, and on another drive, throw a completed pass. Our receiver fumbles the ball on a first down reception. They get it and go down and score another touchdown. And then on our next possession, we bobbled the snap on the punt, and then we run it out to the 1-inch line, and they end up getting another free touchdown right there rather than taking the 2-point safety. Of course, that's all training, and that's my job, and that's my fault for not doing a better job of explaining to our punters what to do under those very tight, pressurized situations. And we'll do a better job of that in the future.
All right, we're going to put the Georgia Southern game to bed now, and we're going to take another break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the program, everybody. I guess one of the sad things about ending any football season is the fact that you have to say goodbye to some seniors that have been with you for a while, and you had a good group of them again this year.
We've got 17 seniors that will not be back with us next year, and half those guys, well, 9 of those 17 walked onto the program and ended up earning scholarships, starting with a guy like Sean Beckton, who was an impact player in his first game with us. He caught the great 4th down play on the fake punt from Bernard Ford in the first game that he was here for us in the Bethune-Cookman game. We ended up winning the game in a close one. He catches 150 15 passes or so. I'm sorry, 215 passes or so in his 4 years with us, which is, of course, one of the many records that he has at UCF. So that was fantastic.
You can't forget about a guy like Mark Giacone either, who just really came into his own.
Well, Mark holds every record that we've got as far as rushing is concerned. The single season record, the 1,000-yard record, the career total. Mark's just a fantastic player. Another 4-year starter was Andrew Bishop. Andrew Bishop started as a freshman here and all the way through and as an offensive guard for us. Perry Belasis was another 4-year starter. Came in here, was the defensive player of the year in Palm Beach County his senior year in high school, and came in here and we said, Perry, we want you to play fullback. That's a typical example of this football team. So many of these guys just team-oriented, and they'll do whatever they want to do, whatever we want them to do to help the football team. And Johnny Osborne is another great senior that we've got, played tight end for us. Ray Irvin came to us as a transfer from Akron, who did an outstanding job. Jimmy Roberts is another one from Melbourne that is another very good student doing a good job. Eric Jones, Bill Stewart, an inside linebacker, came here actually as a running back, and then we moved him to safety, and then we said he reminded me so much of a lot of the great smaller linebackers that I'd coached in my time because of his toughness and will to win and so forth. I wanted to have him as a linebacker, and it really was a great move for us. We're going to lose him. We're going to lose Robert Lindsay, who's started for 4 years for us also. Larry Salazar, who transferred here, played last year, unfortunately got hurt this year and didn't play much after mid-season, but he was a great player for us last year and helped us early this year. Britt Williams, who filled in last week for Connor and the week before in the first playoff game, and filled in this past week for Goforth when he couldn't play, has been a great asset to it. Robert Lee Connor, who played defensive line and then we moved him to tight end this year, was a real asset to the program. Brian Sargent, who probably improved more than anyone while he was here, came in, as a walk-on, and ended up being our snapper this year. We lost Cox last year, who was just a great snapper, had done it for 4 years for us, and this year we didn't know what we were going to do. Brian did not have a bad snap all year. We had that snap yesterday that we ended up dropping, but that was not a bad snap. I mean, it was down there knee-high and could have been fielded. Mentioned Marsden and Lapley and Coltrane. Marsden was a 4-year starter for us. All those guys, we're going to miss them. But let me say this. This football team, like any other great football team, every year is going to lose key people. But in athletics, college athletics and high school and so forth, it's a reload concept. We've got a lot of youngsters who've gotten a taste of championship football this year. And I'm quite sure that, like I am, they're all highly motivated to try to improve their own individual ability so that we can improve the ability of the football team. So I'm really optimistic about the future of this program, and I'm really optimistic and confident that everyone involved in the program, including the boosters, are going to reach down and do what it takes to make this program a great program.
All right, very good. We've got to take another break. We'll be back right after this.
As you say, man, those guys are in great shape. I wish I was in that good a shape. But even if you stopped working out before our football players were born, it's not too late to get back in great shape. Here's Dr. Van Ort from the Peggy and Philip B. Crosby Wellness Center to explain how you can do that.
Broadcasting first here today, ladies and gentlemen. Gene McDowell is getting ready to sign someone to a national letter of intent.
Now, I want to tell you, everyone knows that we're getting ready to start our recruiting, and so this is Justin Wormuth. He is going to sign with us right now for 2008.
Full scholarship, right?
He will be the class of 211. And Justin, you ready to sign, buddy? How about 5? We'll shake on that.
That's right.
This is the kind of people we're looking for, folks.
You got it on tape, too, so it's guaranteed.
That's right. You just made his dad kind of happy. You just saved Greg a lot of money. Gene, thanks a lot. It was a good year, pal.
Really
Congratulations on everything. We had a great time doing this show again.
Channel 9 did a great job producing this. Thank you, George.
Okay, and we're going to leave you now with some pictures of this year. So until next season, see you, folks.
UCF, our home team, has been brought to you by Budget Rent-A-Car, Coca-Cola, Dairy Farmers Incorporated, the Orlando Sentinel, T.G. Lee Dairy, and by Winter Park Memorial Wellness Center.